business owner Joyce Link is suing her neighbor, carpenter John Booth, for damage to her vehicle. Joyce says a drunken John fell against her van.
Miss Link, the defendant is a neighbor of yours.
Yes, ma'am.
And it is your claim that he and a bunch of his drunken friends were coming home one evening and fell on your car or van, causing a dent in the van.
Yes.
Mr. Booth says it wasn't him.
Okay.
So tell me when this happened.
It was on a Saturday night, February 16th, 2002, around 12:31 a.m. in the morning. Me and my husband and children were in our house asleep, and we were awoken by some loud voices outside. So we got up, me and my husband, and looked out our bedroom window, and it was Mr. Booth and 4 of his friends. They were drunk, falling into our van and my next-door neighbor's bushes. And we proceeded to go outside, me and my husband, and I asked them to please get off my vehicle. And the next thing I know, Mr. Booth is yelling about, you know, him and his friends.
No, what was he saying to you, Miss Link? I've heard everything.
He was yelling that we woke my effing neighbors up, and one of his friends had apologized for being on our vehicle. He told me that he was sorry, and Mr. Booth yelled, "Sorry, hell, I fell." I have pictures of my vehicle and my neighbor's bushes that happened that night.
Okay, can I see them, please?
The next morning, we proceeded to get John Booth's attention on the matter, and no one would come to the door, so my husband had wrote a note and taped it to his front door. Then on Monday morning, I was on my way out, and Mr. Booth's wife had approached me.
What was the note? What did the note say?
That they needed to get in touch with us about the damages that was done to our van due to him and his friends being drunk that Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Booth's wife, he seen the damages, and she said that she would let her husband know and to get an estimate, and the damages would be taken care of.
Did Mr. Booth ever contact you?
Yes, that evening. Again, I was outside, and he approached me, and he apologized for what happened and told me that him and his friends don't remember anything. They were too drunk. Again, he did apologize, and he said to go get an estimate that he would take care of the damages. So I did go get an estimate, and I left it on their door because that's how we were notifying each other. So I did go get the estimate, and I left it taped to his front door.
Okay. Mr. Booth?
So far, everything's semi-right. Yeah, we did go out and get drunk. We got a little carried away. The wife was feeling sick, so we went up to the neighborhood bar so I wouldn't bother her. We were up there partying, got a little carried away, come on home. We were pretty intoxicated, okay, yeah. And when we passed her house, the guy that actually did the damage, him and his girlfriend were lagging behind me. I was already in my driveway when her car got damaged.
Were these people that you were out drinking with, were they men or women?
Both. We were all couples.
Well, not you weren't a couple. Your
No, I
wife
was in front.
Shh. Let me finish, sir. You weren't a couple. Your wife was sick.
Yes.
That means there were 5 of you.
Yes.
And where were these 2 couples going from the bar?
To my house.
What were they going to do in your house?
They're going to spend the night.
So they were invited guests of
Yes.
yours. And you escorted them to the bar?
Mm-hmm.
And then you all got drunk.
Mm-hmm.
And then you were escorting your friends, invitees of yours, back to your home for the purposes of sleeping there.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes.
Then I don't give a rat's behind who it was that fell on the van, sir. You're responsible.
Okay,
Okay! That's good. That's what you should have said 3 months ago. Mr. Booth, in the last few months, how much money have you sent them towards the repair of the car?
I don't feel like I sent anything.
What do you mean
I
you don't
didn't do
feel
the
like...
damage.
Didn't you just follow what I said? Didn't you just follow what I said?
Okay, I was escorting him back to the house. He fell into the van.
You were responsible for your guests. If your guests become rowdy, and as a result of their being rowdy, cause damage to the neighbor's property, They don't have to go around and hustle and find out the names and addresses of your guests.
I gave it to her.
You're responsible, and if you feel as if your friends are responsible, you go get the money from them.
I was trying.
I was trying. What do you do for a living?
I'm a carpenter.
The lowest estimate that you have, Miss Link, is $519.66.
Yes, ma'am.
Judgment for the plaintiff. If you have friends, you make sure your friends are well taken care of, sir. And if they cause damage, you are responsible. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
20-year-old college student Serene Peterson is suing her former friend, administrative assistant Jasmine Thornhill, for unauthorized use of her credit card. Jasmine says she had Serene's permission.
Miss Peterson, the defendant was a good friend of yours. You claim, however, that she stole your credit card and used it without your permission, racking up tremendous bills for which you are responsible. The defendant says she did, in fact, use your credit card. She used it with your permission. You had an arrangement where she would pay the bill, and she was perfectly prepared to honor that arrangement. You knew her for a long time?
Around 6 months.
When do you claim she stole your credit card?
December 15th, I was over her apartment on a social engagement. When I left, I accidentally left my wallet with my credit card inside her apartment.
Go ahead.
2 days later, after searching my belongings, I called her and asked her if she had it. She says that she did, and I went over and I retrieved it the same day.
Your credit card?
Yes.
Go ahead.
After that, everything was fine until I received my statement. That was in mid-January. The statement had some charges, along with the charge that I purchased for Ms. Thornhill while I was at her apartment.
What do you mean the charge that you purchased for her?
When I was over her apartment on the 15th, she asked me if she could use my credit card to purchase something online. I agreed to make the purchase for her.
What did you purchase for her online?
An online thing from Pier 1 for $62.67.
Can I see that bill, please?
Yes.
Now, you have certain things highlighted.
Yes, those are all of the charges that Ms. Thornhill made, except for the one on December 5th.
You have one here for December 19th.
Yes, that's correct.
But you got your credit card back on December 17th.
Yes.
You have something on the 18th.
There are a series of charges made after December 15th, extending onto May. I have a complete list. All of the charges I did not make, Ms. Thornhill made.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Serene Peterson says former friend Jasmine Thornhill stole her credit card and ran up charges. Jasmine says Serene gave her permission to use it.
Let me hear your version of how you got this credit card.
Sure, Your Honor. Prior to December 15th, I had asked Ms. Peterson if I could use her credit card in order to make some online purchases for Christmas and some other purchases as well. She said it was no problem. She would come to my workplace in the next couple of days and she would give me the card so I could go ahead and do that. She came to my workplace as agreed and she left the card in my possession. After that, I proceeded to make a few of the online purchases and I asked her, was it okay if in the coming couple of weeks, if I needed, if I could use it again? And Ms. Peterman's statement to me was, well, hey, I don't have a job right now. You're working full time. If you want to use it, just make sure you pay the bill. I'll send the statements to you and we won't have a problem. So I began to use the card under the verbal agreement that we had made. Ms. Peterson got her statement in mid-January. I asked her what the amount was she going to send that to me? She said no, because of the fact that she had made a charge in December herself. She'd go ahead and take care of that payment. She said, but then when the rest of my charges became evident in the February bill, that I would begin to be responsible for it. In February, as agreed, she mailed me the payment, and I have proof of that because I sent in a money order to make that payment.
Your Honor, may I say something, please?
Go ahead.
After Ms. Peterson reviewed that statement, and I sent a copy of it to her, of the statement itself, along with a copy of the money order to her in the mail as proof that I had indeed made that payment. Then came February, and she received a statement, and she was very concerned by the growing balance. I told her, I said, I can understand that, but it just so happens that you and I have a different standard of the way that we live. I understand some of the things I might buy might appear expensive to you, but I'm expecting tax money. I'll definitely use some of that towards lowering the balance, and I will definitely honor our initial agreement. I don't in any way want to...
Stick you.
Right, exactly. March came along. That's when Ms. Peterson, I think, she started to get really upset.
Well, just show me the rest of the payments that you made.
That's the only payment that I made successfully.
Why?
That was the only statement that she sent to me.
In February?
Yes, ma'am.
Why did you make purchases in March?
Those actually, ma'am, were purchases that I had made in February that were on back order.
Then you cancel them. What are you, nuts?
No, honestly, ma'am, you're right. That's something she certainly could have done.
All right, Miss Peterson, let me tell you what I think. I think you lied to me when you said she stole your card and you had no knowledge of the fact that she was using your card till you got these statements. Let me tell you why. Because if I got a statement in the month of January that showed unauthorized usage of my card, and since you weren't using the card at all, correct?
Correct.
Then you cut up the card, you call the company immediately, and you say, discontinue this card, I'm canceling this card, no further purchases are authorized. You didn't do that.
I did, Your Honor.
No. If you did that immediately in January, is that what you're saying?
Yes,
Then you are not responsible for these. If you canceled your card and they continue to allow someone else to use it in an unauthorized way, you are not responsible.
When I called them in December, they told me that they had been trying to contact me because they had red flagged my card because of suspicious behavior. They had also told me that someone called up and got my card reactivated. Numerous times I called them and I canceled my card.
Do you know her mother's maiden name?
No, ma'am.
Do you know her social security number?
I don't know by heart, but I did know it.
Good. Did you ever call to reinstate her card?
No, ma'am.
No. Miss Peterson, what happened is that you let her use your card.
I did not.
Then if these are unauthorized charges on your account and you did not give her permission and you canceled your card, then you are not responsible for these.
That's what I told Bank of... However, they told me, because I told them that I knew who was making the charges, I said, I can direct you to the person who is fraudulently using my card. They said that it's a civil matter now and that I have to bring up the charges against her because they are not going to take them off.
No, that's not true. Call the police. Madam, if what you're telling me is that somebody stole your credit card and used your credit card without your permission, call the police and have her arrested. Simple as that. They're going to arrest her and you won't be out any money. You won't be out any money if what you're telling me is true. What you're telling me is true, correct?
Yes.
Right? You didn't give her permission to use your card.
No.
You're sure of that?
I'm positive.
Then you don't have anything to worry about. Call, have her arrested for grand larceny. You are not responsible for the payments because you did, in fact, cancel your card.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, I did.
Perfect. Then we have nothing to worry about. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
16-year-old Katie Campbell and her mother, Kathy Campbell, are suing Katie's former friend, 17-year-old Tim Mason, and his mother, Tamara Mason. Katie says Tim cut her hair against her will.
Miss Campbell, this is your daughter?
Yes.
And you're suing on her behalf. Is that right?
Yes.
And Miss Mason, this is your son?
Yes.
And you're defending this suit on his behalf because you are how old, sir?
17 years old.
All right, so I'd like all the mothers to sit down, please. I'm going to make short work of this. Miss Campbell, it is your complaint that the defendant assaulted you by cutting your hair off.
Yes.
And you want him to pay all sorts of damages because you wanted to be a model and it took you 5 years to grow your hair. And that was your crowning glory and he made a mess of it when he cut it. Is that right?
Correct.
Is this the young lady that you were with when he cut your hair?
Yes.
All right, you step up here. Let's do this very, very fast.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 16-year-old Katie Campbell says former friend, 17-year-old Tim Mason, cut her hair against her will. Katie says it's been a serious setback to her modeling career.
You wanted to get your hair done?
Yeah.
She was just going along for the ride.
Right. It was her.
Where
friend.
were you going to go to get your hair done?
He was coming to our house. He was just a friend of hers.
Okay, and he wants to be a hairdresser?
No, not
You
at all.
just want to be...
I don't want nothing to do with hair. They asked me as a favor. I do my hair every once in a while, pull it through a cap, and they asked me to come over to do it out of a favor.
What were you going to do for this young lady?
Fix Katie's mess up of her hair dye.
Color or a cut?
Color.
Color. So he was going to color you. Now, why would you let him color your hair?
He was a friend of hers.
Friend of whose?
My sister's. Mine.
Now, did he color your hair?
Yes, he did.
Good. And then he cut your sister's hair.
Right.
Tell me how that happened.
Well, he cut my sister's hair. I mean, he colored my sister's hair, and then he pulled me into the bathroom, and he had.
How did he pull you? You're bigger than he is.
Well, he said, "Come into the bathroom," and I said, "Okay, what are we doing?" And he's like, "Well, I'm going to feather your hair." And I said, "What does that mean?" And he pulled out like a comb that he had in his own bag, and he said, "I'm going to feather it." And I said, "Well, I don't know what that means. You're not cutting my hair if that's what you mean." And he said, no, I'm not cutting your hair. And he repeatedly said he was not cutting my hair. And I said, okay, then what do you mean by feather it? And he said, just trust me. So he sat me down in the chair, and he took like a tiny little bit off the ends. And I said, well, that's cutting my hair. And he said, no, I'm just going to take the dead ends off so, so it'll grow faster. And I was like, well, I don't know. So he took all my hair into the back, kind of like a ponytail, and he took the comb and he just hit it like really hard right in the middle. And like in a matter of seconds, it was all gone. And so then I started.
Bye-bye. It's all gone.
And so I started crying and I was screaming. I was saying, stop. And
stop. And then he finished it up. All right. Yeah. Give me your version.
I came over. Katie picked me up, met me at a specific location to go to a supply store to get bleach for her hair and a couple of supplies. I asked Katie, okay, are we going to do your hair? She said, okay, we'll buy an extra kit for mine, just in case I like Shelly's hair, how it turns out. So she bought all the products. We bought a kit for her. I brought this comb, and I said, okay, if you wanted to do your hair, feather it, whatever, this is what I got. This is a feathering, texturizing comb. It is used to texturize and feather hair. It does not use to chop off big amounts of hair.
So would you just tell me how come you cut her hair? Tell me what happened.
She asked me to cut her hair.
And where did she ask you to cut her hair?
At her sister's apartment, in the bathroom.
Where? In the bathroom?
Yes.
How did she get into the bathroom?
We walked into the bathroom.
Both of you walked in. You didn't pick her up. You didn't pick her up and carry her there, did you?
No.
No.
Willingly.
Huh?
We all willingly went to the bathroom. She had Kool-Aid. We were all having a good time. I was playing with her son.
Miss Campbell, get over it. Get over it. You were playing around with your sister. She was letting some unprofessional teenager do stuff on her hair. Whether you let him, whether he was acting like an idiot or not, you have choices. Your choice is, you don't go to the bathroom, you don't sit down, you don't say, I don't understand what feathering is. What's feathering? Is it going to cut my hair? You say, don't touch my hair, it's my crowning glory.
I did.
Then you leave.
I tried and he pushed me back down. And he hit my arm down, too, when I was trying to stop him. He said, shut the F up and get over it. It's done and done.
But it was already done.
Yeah, he was doing it. And then he's like, I need to fix it. And, this is my career. I've been growing it out. And,
So, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do?
I don't know.
You won't put yourself in this situation. The three teenagers put themselves in this situation. He certainly doesn't have any money to pay you. Why should his mother have to deal with that? I want to tell you something. If you're not a professional hairdresser, if you're not licensed, you're not supposed to be working on anybody. Your only redeeming trait right now is that you are 17 and you are not of age where you could really lose the ability to practice this kind of career permanently. You understand that?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is this what you want to do as a profession?
I'm doing it for favor. I don't want nothing to do with hair. Nothing.
So that I don't understand why you would even take somebody else's head.
They didn't have the money to get it done. She says, oh, I saw, your friends.
Mr. Mason, listen to me very carefully. If you don't know anything about hair, if you don't profess to know anything about hair, and don't indicate that you know anything about hair, why wouldn't Shelley have her sister do the same thing on her hair that you did if you know nothing about hair? If you don't profess to know anything about hair. Do you understand?
I understand.
It doesn't make any sense unless you suggest that one of them likes you, one of them has a crush on you.
Katie asked me to homecoming.
Did she?
Yes.
When?
In the beginning of the fall, and I wasn't able to make it.
Is that right?
Your Honor, he's gay, and he said that he
gay?
said he would go as a friend. Yes, he said he would go as a friend because she didn't have a date, and she didn't want to miss the only dance because she's doing internet school.
So did you go together?
No, he ditched me for it. He didn't show up.
Even more reason not to invite him over to your home.
Right. Well, he apologized and everything, and he had a message on
things
right.
that he has no business taken care of, which means he lets somebody who has absolutely no training do anything to you, because aside from anything else, you could get hurt. Not just your hair, which grows back. You know, whether it takes 6 months or a year, your hair's going to grow back. What other thing? You're using bleach on your head, you're using caustic materials, you're letting some schlemiel over you who has no talent take care of you. Very foolish. Your case is dismissed. That's all. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Retired scientist Maxine Davidson is suing her former friend, retired chemist Merle Millard, for credit card charges that were made on a trip to Mexico.
Miss Davidson, according to your complaint, you and the defendant were friends, and he invited you to go on a trip to Mexico in his camper, and he said you would have no expense, that he was going to pay for everything. And you claimed that while you were on this trip, you had to use your credit card for certain things.
Yes.
And you have not been fully reimbursed for all of the charges that were made during that trip, although Mr. Millard did give you some money towards your credit cards and towards the bills. You still have additional bills that you want him to pay for. And Mr. Millard says there was never an agreement that he would make all the payments for all the expenses, that he was supposed to just go together. Is that right, sir?
Correct. It was a 50-50.
That was your arrangement
It's
with
my
her?
understanding.
No, look at me, sir. That was your agreement with her. You would share the expenses 50-50. Is that what you're telling me?
We never discussed it.
You never discussed it?
To my knowledge.
Okay, fine. So it was your assumption.
Correct.
You never had a discussion about it.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Maxine Davidson says ex-friend Merle Millard owes for credit card charges he made while they were on vacation in Mexico.
All right, so, Ms. Davidson, I'd like you to tell me how this trip came about.
I met Mr. Millard in September, around the 7th on my birthday, at a Kinko's. And we were both doing our life stories in film. And he was very courteous, and he wanted to meet me again, to talk about England. He knows where I'm from, in the north of England. And we never did get to talk about it, but we went out to dinner several times. He didn't have any credit cards because he said he had been bankrupt a year before. So no problem, he gets a very good salary from the government as a scientist. And he would pay me back. Then the next thing is he invites us in his refurbished vehicle, a Winnebago motorhome. And
what did he say to you?
He said, bring nothing but yourself. We don't need anything. He had plenty of food, plenty to drink. The vacation would be on him because my daughter was visiting with me, and my grandson then of 10 months, he invited them also. She had never been to Ensenada.
Did they go?
Yes.
Your daughter and grandson went? Mm-hmm. When did you leave on the trip?
Approximately the 21st of October.
Okay.
2000.
And how long was the trip planned?
We went for 2 days, but we stayed 6 because of the vehicle experiencing trouble with the motor. We were stranded there.
Okay, so tell me what happened when you were on this trip and what you spent money on.
Mr. Millard had no money, no credit cards. He had been bankrupt. He said, don't worry, I will pay you back every penny as soon as I get my money from the government. So, of course, what could I do? I used 3 credit cards, 2 of which were stolen or lost. I never did get them back. So when I got back to the USA, I ordered more. Fortunately, they were maxed to the limit, so there were charges on it, more than we made in Mexico.
What kind of expenses did you put on the credit card?
Okay, his finding the parts to put the motor back together. It was something to do with the overheating. The fan was the wrong size.
How much did you spend on the motorhome or the
close to $1,000 with food and motor costs. Oh, I don't know. He wouldn't tell me.
Answer my...
Never showed me.
Well, you must have gotten the credit card receipts.
I did eventually get them.
How much was spent for parts? Didn't it say on your credit card?
They weren't separated. He had the cards with him, got a lift, thumbed a lift to get there.
Let me see the bills from your credit.
Versatile.
Ms. Davidson, let me see the bills from your credit card company.
They're itemized and copied. And there are bills with his signature on the cards.
Just a minute.
That he spent. Mostly it was for food and entertainment that I used my credit cards as well, because we were there 6 days.
How much did you spend altogether? And I'm not including the money for the restaurants in California.
Approximately around $1,000. He gave me $483 back in the U.S.
$739.71 is what you calculate for international charges. You say U.S. charges $130.
Plus the money spent in America.
I'm not talking about the money spent in America. Understand that. I'm taking off the dinners that you say. He said, don't worry, I'll pay you back. I'm not dealing with that. That's nonsense.
Promise to pay me back.
That's nonsense. So he owes, according to you, he still owes you $359. Okay. Now, Mr. Millard, tell me about this vacation that you took with Miss Davidson. Why did you invite her on this trip?
Of companionship with her, and also her daughter and her daughter's son. I enjoyed their company.
And did you have any discussion with her, as Miss Davidson says, you know, just bring yourself and a smile and a bathing suit?
Yes, what I told her is I would equip the motorhome with food, and I gassed it up $130, and propane and all that. And we never discussed beyond that. I brought $250 cash along for entertainment and food in addition if we didn't want to eat in the motorhome. So there was never really any discussion that I know of about I was going to pay for it all. I never intended to. I would never do that.
Well, I don't know whether you intended to or not, but let's get down to certain basics. This trip was originally intended to take 2 days. Is that right?
No, I mean, I would never drive it 100 miles and stay 2 days. It's 6 miles to the gallon for my motorhome.
How many days did you plan on being away, sir?
At least a week.
I don't believe you. I don't believe that, sir.
You don't believe it?
No. I don't believe that you planned on being away for a week.
Or more, sure.
No. I don't believe that you planned on being away for a week, sir.
Well, I did.
Never.
I would
No.
never drive. You know, that's the cost of the motorhome is gas. So
fine.
why drive it all over? You go somewhere.
So you paid for gas. Did you have enough food in your camper for a week?
Sure.
For a week?
Sure.
For 3 people?
Sure.
No.
Yes. Oh,
No.
of course.
No. And what happened to the camper? Because the camper broke down.
All right, now what happened is the fuel pump began
It
to
broke
fail.
down. I don't care what. It
Yes.
broke down. Don't explain it to me. I don't care
It
about
failed.
gaskets
It
and
broke
fuel
down.
pumps. It broke down.
Yes.
And how many days was it broken down?
3 days.
Right. And after it was finally fixed, did you go back home?
Yes.
Immediately. As soon as
within
it
a
was
day,
fixed.
I think.
And all during that time, those 3 days, you didn't have to buy anything else. Is that right? You had all
Well, what
the
happened
food
is,
and all the drink for these extra...
No, what happened is
No.
we started going out, you know, eating out and boozing it up. And
Well, if you went out eating and boozing it up, you weren't paying because you only had $250
yeah, I
in
ran
cash.
out of that.
And you ran out of that very fast, so you were using her credit cards.
Correct.
Did you use her credit card also to pay for the fuel pump?
All right, there was $60. I withdrew cash, I think around 100. The fuel pump was 40, and the repair bill, the mechanic, was 60.
I asked you whether you used her money for that, sir.
Yes.
Now, she's not part owner of your Winnebago.
No, of course not.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $359. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Sarah Jones is suing her former friend, 24-year-old student Thomas Carini, for half the value of a lottery ticket. Sarah claims when Thomas cashed her winning ticket, the state took half.
You're going to love this case.
I saw some of the notes. I think so.
You're going to love this case. Miss Jones, you had a winning lottery ticket.
Yes.
For some reason that you will explain to me in a moment, you didn't want to cash the ticket yourself. And you asked the defendant, who you knew, if he would
Yes.
cash the ticket for you. The lottery ticket was for $2,500. He cashed the ticket, and the state took $1,250, or half of the proceeds, for some reason.
Right.
Not the defendant. We understand the defendant didn't take the $1,200, and he gave you the $1,250. Is that right?
Correct.
And you want him to pay you the $1,250 that the state took from your lottery ticket. Is that right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So let's go and start back. When did you have this winning lottery ticket?
April 23rd,
Of what year?
2002.
And how did you find out that you had the winning lottery ticket?
I watched the New York State Lottery when the numbers came out.
Okay, and what lottery was it?
The 1-4.
Okay, and you knew how much the ticket was worth?
Yes.
How did you find out how much the ticket was worth?
I called the New York State Lottery Department, and I also went online, and they tell you how much it's worth when you go online for how much you played for.
Are you employed?
No.
How do you support yourself?
I'm on workman's compensation
How long have you been on workman's compensation?
for about 8 years.
What's the nature of your disability?
I have bulging discs in my back, and I had surgery on my left knee twice.
When was the last time you had a surgery?
About 3 years ago.
Do you live alone?
No, I live with my husband and my 3 boys.
How old are your 3 boys?
16, 12, and 10.
And what kind of work does your husband do?
Mason work, concrete.
Now, you want to tell me, Miss Jones, why you didn't go in to cash this lottery ticket yourself?
Yes, there are 2 reasons why I didn't. The first is because
I didn't have my license. I couldn't find my license, so I had...
Didn't have your what license?
My driver's license. I couldn't find them. When I did find them, they were in my husband's truck, but at the time when I wanted to cash the ticket...
What date did you want to cash the ticket?
On Monday, the next day that the lottery office was open. You have to take the ticket to the New York State Lottery office.
Yes, I understand that. So when you found out you had won, did you tell your husband?
Yes, I did tell my husband. My husband was watching it with me when I saw it when the number came out.
And if your husband does masonry work, then he has a driver's license.
He also had to work.
There's nothing in the New York State Lottery rules that require you cash the ticket the next day. Is that right?
No, there isn't, but I needed the money.
You have a year to cash the ticket.
Well, I didn't have a year to get my money. I needed my money before I even won it. I had shut-off notices from everywhere. I had to pay bills. I wasn't going to wait a year.
Okay, so first you didn't have a driver's license. What's your next reason for not cashing the ticket yourself?
Is because my name is in the system also.
In what system?
Medicaid helped pay for my surgery.
In what system?
Whatever system this is where they take your money.
All right, so what you're telling me is that you knew, don't give me the baloney about a driver's license, you knew...
Well, that was the deal.
You knew,
believe it or not,
that if you went to cash this lottery ticket,
because
Medicaid had paid for your surgery, they were going to take some of the money.
Yes, New York State Lottery office told me that when I called them.
Oh, good. And how much were they going to take?
The same amount that they took for Tommy, $1,250.
Then what are we doing here, madam?
I want my money back. I'm not going to pay his bill.
You explain to me.
If they're going to take my money, let them take it for my bill, not for somebody else's bill.
You don't even have to say anything. I assume you owe the state money for something. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, for what?
Actually, I was never sent the bill. I really am not exactly sure what they billed me for or if I owed the money. But in the past, I have been in rehabilitation at one point in time, as well as I've been on workman's comp at one point in time.
Whatever. You owed the state money just like she did.
Yes.
Right?
Correct.
Did you know that they were going to attach some of this money?
No, I did not.
I assume you didn't.
But I asked him to give them a call like I did. And he called me back, and he told me that he called them. And they told him he didn't owe anybody anything, there was no problem. So we went there.
Somebody made a mistake? Miss Jones, you were trying to get over on the system, madam.
No,
That's
I
what
wasn't
happened.
trying to get over on the system, Judge Judy, because when I called there, they told me, your Social Security number is in the computer. If you bring the ticket, we're going to have to take some of it. So your best bet is to find a family member or friend to help you. Don't bring the ticket yourself, or we're going to take the money. So that's what I did.
I wish you had the name of that person who told you that.
I wish I did, too. I would have gave it to you.
I think that you probably ought to sue them.
If I could, I would.
They gave you very bad advice, Miss Jones.
If I could, I would, to get my money back.
Let me tell you something. You're not going to get the money from him.
Well, why? He signed me a promissory note stating
I don't care if he signed you the Declaration of Independence. You're not getting a penny. You tried to scam the system. It backfired on you. Courts do not help you when you try to scam the system. Your case is dismissed. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Homemaker Bonnie Gomez is suing her daughter's ex-boyfriend, 21-year-old appliance salesman A.D. Todd, for an unpaid loan for bail. A.D. says he never asked Bonnie for help.
Mrs. Gomez, the defendant was dating your daughter. She was 17 at the time, and according to your complaint, he got himself arrested, called you, begged you to bail him out of jail. You did. It was a loan, and he hasn't paid you back.
That's correct.
When did he call you and tell you that he had been arrested?
He called me on June 20th, about 10 p.m.
And what did he say to you?
He said that he had gotten himself arrested for a mistaken identity, is what he told me.
He got himself arrested for a mistaken identity? I didn't know the last time I looked in the penal law that was a crime.
Yeah, I didn't either. So he asked if I could bail him out, and his words were, Miss Bonnie, please, I can't stand it here, please bail me out.
Your Honor, she's lying.
Did I ask you anything yet?
No, ma'am.
So I asked him how the bond system worked, because I'm not familiar with how jail and stuff works, and he says, well, if you put up the bond, you get the money back. So I spoke to somebody at the bond company, and they said the way it works is that they put up a big bond for him, I pay some, but I don't get it back. They get their money back if he shows up to court. And so I hesitated, and they said, well, we have 2 other bonds out on him, so he's a good risk, he will go to court. And I said, well, let me think about it. And he
Did
called
you know at the time that he had been arrested at least twice before?
No, I did not.
What was he arrested for this time?
Well, what he told me originally was that it was mistaken identity, and after I bailed him out, he told me that his girlfriend, the mother of his baby, had said that he had beat her up. Come to find out later on when I went to get a copy of what he was arrested for, he was arrested for possession with intent to distribute and criminal impersonation.
Drugs?
Drugs, yeah. And I supposedly, from what I understand, impersonating a police officer.
Okay. So you posted his bond?
Yes.
$1,500?
Right.
Did you ever get it back?
No.
Did you ask him for it back?
When I bailed him out of jail that night, I said to him on the telephone before I went to the jail, I said, you know, I need this money back. I'm a single mom raising 5 kids. You know, my health hasn't been very good for a few years. I haven't been able to work. What I have is in my savings, and that's what I'm supporting my kids with. And he says, Miss Bonnie, I have the money. I just have to go get it. As soon as I get you, you know, you come and get me out of jail, we'll go get the money. I said, okay, fine. And I said, would you sign an IOU? And he said, yes, I will. He says, I'll sign whatever. You want to put interest on there, whatever, I'll sign it. So went ahead and went over to the jail, signed him out of jail, wrote a check out for what it cost to get him out, $1,500. It was about probably 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning at this point. And he says, you know, Miss Bonnie, it's a little late, you know, to go over to my friend's house, so let's just wait till the daytime. And I said, that's fine, you know, because I was pretty tired as well. And come the next morning, you know, a few hours later, I made him sign an IOU, which I can't find now, it disappeared. And he left and haven't seen him since.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Bonnie Gomez says her daughter's ex-boyfriend, A.D. Todd, owes for an unpaid loan for bail. A.D. says he never asked Bonnie for help.
Where were you arrested, sir?
At the apartment that I stayed at.
What were you arrested for?
Possession.
Possession of what?
Marijuana.
That was at least the third arrest that we know about because you'd been bonded twice before. What were your prior arrests?
Harassment and driving without a license.
You don't get arrested for driving without a license, sir.
Well,
bonded.
in Colorado, if you ain't got your license and insurance, you do go to jail.
Uh-huh.
Right. Okay, but anyways, Your Honor, when I went to jail, I called Mrs. Gomez's daughter. I asked her would she go and tell my mom to get me out of jail. She said, all right. That's the last time I ever called her house. 2.5, 3 hours later, there was somebody bailing me out. They told me to pack my stuff. You know, I got out. You know, Erica was sitting there, and I didn't know who Miss Gomez was at the time because I never met her. So I signed the bail bondsman papers. Miss Gomez leaves out with us. And we gets to her house, you know, because I stayed like 2-3 blocks away. You know, and I'm talking to her. You know, next thing you know, I goes home that night, and I comes back the next day. And she tells me, well, Mr. Todd, you know that you're going to owe me $1,500 for getting me out. I'm like, you know, shocked. I didn't think I owed her anything. I mean, I didn't ask her to bail me out of jail. She did on her own. I mean, if her daughter did, then that's on them. That's not on me. But I was dating her daughter at the time, you know, and I guess I picked up responsibility and said, okay. You know, so like 2, maybe 3 days later, I had like a really bad necklace, you know.
Like a really bad necklace? What was wrong with it?
No, I mean, I had like,
It was
I had a nice, really expensive necklace. It was Pegasus. It was about yay big. And
probably cost $2 at a flea market.
yeah, it had like 2.5 carats worth of Marquise and Big Ed diamonds in it. I mean, it wasn't like Cuban zirconia. It was retail price of like $15,000. And I gives it to the plaintiff's daughter, and I never seen it since then. You know, I never called the house again, and Ms. Gomez never said that I owe her any money. She never brought the subject up to me. You know, everything was all right from what I knew. I say about a month and a half later, me and her daughter still talking. You know, I comes back from the store. It was me and my little brother and my baby's mom. And we gets out of the car, and this white car pulls up. Miss Gomez is in the passenger seat. Then a bunch of little Mexicans get out the car and try to beat me up. You know, taking off their shirts, saying, what's up, Holmes, you know, is this him, is this him? I hear a lady in the background saying, yeah, that's him. You know, so they run up to me, and I'm taking off my jewelry so I can, honestly.
You wouldn't mind showing me that jewelry, would you, sir?
No.
Could I see it up here, please, Bert? Would you get that for me?
You want to see what's on my neck, too?
No, that's what you're going to give Bert is sufficient. Keep talking, Mr. Todd.
Okay.
I'm fascinated.
Okay. But anyways.
No, really, really.
Okay.
No, I don't know. Please don't laugh. I'm fascinated.
Okay, but after the little essays run up on me and try to beat me up, You know, my little brother goes in the house and gets my mom. You know, she gets out of the car. My mom says, you know, what's going on? My mom didn't even know who these people were. Miss Sanchez get out of the car, and she's like, well, your son owes me $1,500. I'm just looking like, I don't owe you a thing, you know. Never once did I get told that I owe you any money. You know, so after that, you know, I never seen Mrs. Gomez again. You know, after I gave her the necklace, it was like, I guess everything was okay.
So what you're saying is you gave her daughter the necklace to pay off this debt? Is
Yeah,
that what
she
you're
could have
telling
took it to any pawn shop.
Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Todd, usually when you go to court, you get all dressed up?
Yes, ma'am.
Put on your finest, right?
No. It's not my finest.
You have better.
Yes.
Really? Have better clothes?
Yes.
Have better jewelry?
Yes.
Where is your better jewelry?
This is like from way back, before I even moved to Colorado.
I'm talking about this jewelry.
All this stuff is old. I had this stuff for a long time.
Because one would think if you were wearing all this flashy junk that, that this would be your best stuff.
No.
Right? No, the best stuff you gave away to her daughter. The one with
It was one of the best.
The $15,000
yes, ma'am.
piece.
It was one of the best.
Wasn't any junk like this. Wasn't any
No,
glass like this, you
No,
know, in whatever kind of metal this is.
All right.
Right?
Right.
It was a really good one, gold
ma'am.
and diamonds and
Yes, ma'am.
and well-cut stones that was worth $15,000. Where did you get $15,000 from?
Family.
From your family?
Yes. My dad had bought the necklace for me at the time.
Really? He must love you very much. Must be very proud of you.
Yeah.
Yo, or $1,500. Listen, you get yourself arrested. She's nice enough to come at 2 o'clock in the morning, leave her 5 children to come and pick you up, and you're doing a dance? Do me a favor, return this garbage to him. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,500.
Thank you.
Eyes are excused. You may step out.
Cosmetology student Tanya Vaughn is suing her ex-boyfriend, cook Carver Jackson, for breaking her cell phone during an argument. Carver is countersuing, claiming Tanya threw his laundry in the dumpster.
All right, this is going to be very fast. Ms. Vaughn, according to your complaint, the defendant, who was a former boyfriend of yours, got into a snit about something, which I'm totally disinterested in, and smashed your cell phone.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Jackson, you acknowledge that you smashed her cell phone.
Yeah.
The only question is how much it costs to fix it or to get a new one. Is that right?
Right.
Good. Give me a bill.
This is the bill for the cell phone, how much the cell phone costs.
Well, you can buy a cell phone for any amount. What kind did you have, madam?
I had a Samsung.
And how much did you pay for it?
$179.
Is that what you bought to replace the one he smashed?
I bought a whole new phone.
But is that what you paid, $179?
No.
What did you pay?
I paid $69.
Got a better deal?
Yes.
Good. So he's got to give you $69, right? Not $250 that you're suing for. $69. That's what you get for the new cell phone. That's what you have to pay for your temper. Now, on the flip side, you have a counterclaim. Yeah. Your counterclaim is, just let me get there, sir. I mean, I have other things to do today. On the flip side, it's your claim that you brought your laundry over to the plaintiff's house. You washed your laundry over there. Then you got into another argument with her. Police were called. You were escorted out of the house. You left your laundry there, and she threw your laundry in the dumpster. Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes. Did you throw his laundry in the
No, I
dumpster?
didn't,
What'd you do with his laundry?
He did not have his laundry over there. It was 2 shirts, and the only reason they went
That's
into
laundry. Okay, 2 shirts.
2 shirts,
Good.
2 button-down shirts.
Had he cleaned them or washed them at your house?
I don't know what he had done with them.
What did you do with them?
After he slashed my tires, I took them to the dumpster and threw them out.
Okay, so you threw out his shirts. You have bills for your shirts?
Yeah. My pants too. Yeah.
No,
Just
I
a second. She said all she's got is shirts.
It was just 2 shirts.
Okay, I'm gonna take the shirt.
Good. 2 shirts.
Yeah, there's my receipt. It's for the jersey there. This one you can't see, so that one don't even count.
She said they were button-down shirts.
It was 2 jerseys.
2 jerseys?
2 jerseys and 2 pair of Dockers. Come on.
Okay, jerseys. They were $49.
48, yep.
It says $49.98.
Come on. That's
Excuse
it.
me?
That's it.
Was that for 1 shirt or 2?
That's for 1.
So it was $100 for the 2.
Right.
When did this happen?
Back in March of last
Well, this is a bill.
year.
This is a bill from May 25th of 2000. So this was the bill for these 2 shirts.
Yeah.
That
You keep
happened a
these
while.
bills?
Yeah, got to. Never know when this gonna happen.
I'm really impressed. I'm really impressed that you kept the bill this long.
I got one longer than that, but it's faded on out.
All right.
But your ironer, he wouldn't even have to worry
All
about
right,
it
so
if
you
he
had the
wouldn't have-
shirts for a couple of years, right?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So they lost a little bit of their value in it for a couple of years.
Because I only wear them every blue moon. So they were still like new.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I'm going to give you the full cost of your shirts, $98. She gets $69, you get $98. The difference is $29. So you know what happens in this case? You get nothing, you get $29. Goodbye, go have a happy life.
All these are excused, you may step out.
Old homemaker Jennifer Jones is suing her mother, business owner Helen Jones, for the return of personal property, harassment, and for the cost of new car tires. Helen is countersuing for the cost of a refrigerator and damages to her mobile home.
I've read your complaints very carefully. Miss Jones, the defendant is your mother.
Right.
And according to what I gather from your complaint, your parents are in the process of getting a divorce.
Right.
How many years have you been married?
24.
During the course of the divorce, according to you, you sort of sided with your father.
Right.
You were living in a house, and who owned the house?
Her and my father.
You were living there with child?
Right.
And a boyfriend?
Right.
According to your complaint, you left the house, and without your permission, your mother came in and took some property that you say belongs to you.
Right.
Mother says you abandoned the house. She went in, she took property that was there, some of which she had given to your child, and she is counterclaiming. She says that you left the house in deplorable condition. She has to buy a new refrigerator and other damages. You also claim that your mother slashed your tires and is engaged in a course of harassing behavior.
Yes.
When did you move into her house?
It is March of 2001.
And who was living there at the time?
Me and my son when we first moved there.
And how long did you and your son live there alone?
About 2.5 months.
And then who moved in?
My ex-boyfriend.
And how long did you, your son, and your ex-boyfriend live there?
Until March of 2002.
What happened in March of 2002?
I left and had moved to Carthage with a current boyfriend.
Okay, so you left the old boyfriend.
Right.
Now, when you left the old boyfriend, was he living in the house at the time?
No, he moved out before I moved.
When did he move out?
About 2 months prior to that.
What date in March of 2002 did you leave the house?
It was approximately the second week of March.
Now, when do you allege that your mother came in and took property?
I noticed the property gone April 8th. I went in, there had been a computer missing.
So 3 weeks after you moved out?
Right. I didn't even actually move out. All of my things were still there. I had just been staying with a boyfriend because
Why?
of all the harassment and everything I was getting there at the home.
Right. And what items do you claim that your mother came in and took that belongs to you?
She had called me the day before Easter and told me that she was going to get a swing set out of my backyard, and I okayed that. She then called me the day after Easter and told me she had went into the house, which she had no keys to, and took a children's four-wheeler and a wagon out of the building.
But she took those things. Is those the things you want back?
Well, and then when I got there, there were several other things missing also.
Like what?
There was a compact computer. There was a brand new Kenmore
Whose
dishwasher.
computer was it?
It was mine.
I have proof where it was Clinton Todd's.
Well, I have the statement that he signed and give to me that he give that to me.
What else?
A Kenmore dishwasher. There was a race car collection, a deep freezer, and all the rest of the
Well, we're
items
talking
that
about
went
months later, Miss Jones. If you moved out and you're living with a new boyfriend, is this a new boyfriend?
Yes.
Well, you can't just leave it there.
I left the things there. My father was staying there with me, and I left the things there for him to use until I got another place.
So there was somebody else living in the house?
Right. He was staying there on the weekends.
Somebody else who had access to the house?
Right.
Is that right?
Right.
Now, you acknowledge, Miss Jones, that you took the swing set, the bike, and the wagon.
Yes, that's all I took.
And that was, you say, because?
I paid for it. It was to stay there. She met this guy on internet. He is married and he has 4 kids. I didn't buy it for his kids. I bought it for my grandson. They were to stay there whenever if she ever moved out, and she wanted to take them, and I said no.
That's not true.
Well, you didn't give them to her. You gave them to your grandson.
Right.
It's the wrong thing to do, because I know, I have grandchildren, so I know you didn't say to your grandson when you gave him the red wagon or when you gave him the bike, you can have these as long as your mother is living here and doesn't move away to live with somebody else. You didn't say that to him.
No, the
Either-
reason why I put that in because she has bounced from home to home, from boyfriend to boyfriend.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Jennifer Jones claims her mother, Helen Jones, burglarized her home and slashed her tires. Helen says she entered the trailer because Jennifer abandoned it.
Now, your grandson's got to have his swing set back and his bike and his wagon because those things belong to him.
Well, the reason why that I had took them, we went to the mobile home, the back door was standing wide open. That's why I took the things, because I didn't want nobody to take the things.
Okay. So at this point, those things are going to have to go back to your grandson. Okay. But your mother says she doesn't have anything else, Miss Jones. What proof do you have that she took those things?
There was a statement filed with the police department there where they had retrieved some of the items that her son had went in and stolen from me, that he had stolen even some of her things that she had loaned me out of the house.
Just a second. What proof do you have that your mother took any of those things?
Nobody else had access to the house.
That's not true. Your father did.
The door's standing wide open.
Just a second. Your father did.
Right.
He had a key to the home, right?
Right.
You said your mother didn't have a key.
Right.
May I add something?
Who are you?
I'm the boyfriend.
Well,
and a
step
witness.
up if you have something important to add, but just make sure it's important. What's your name?
My name's Mark. The thing with her father, there's an ex parte between her father and her mother at this time. And so he would stay at the home on the weekends as long as he could until the harassment got so bad. And the harassment was so bad and stuff that her dad found another place to stay when he was in at different times, kind of just staying with who he could to try to make peace through this divorce that they're going through.
So far, I don't hear much from you, sir. Just a lot of
Well, okay,
chatter.
but, well, when we were there,
Yeah.
there was a phone call placed by her mother. And her mother were in a pretty good argument.
Just a second. Her mother called and asked and said she wanted to go take the swing set.
Right.
So she
but-
called you and asked you if she could take the swing set, and you said
Only
okay.
the swing set, right.
Okay, but you said okay. So
Right.
she didn't not ask you if she could take the swing
Right.
set. She just made the phone call, got your permission. Listen, get to the facts. I have a very busy calendar.
Okay. And she has some pictures here that shows a lot of the damage to the yard and to the shed. And the damage to the back door was not there the week that we went there. But the only way she would have had to go into the house would be to tear up the back door.
Well, I don't know that.
And
She
that's
says she
where-
found the door off the hinges. Isn't
The
that
door
right?
was
That's
wide
what you.
open. It wasn't off of the hinges. It was left wide open.
And there's a police report that states the door was pried
Right,
open
it was
and
pried
pried
open.
hanging.
Maybe your ex-boyfriend came back. Maybe your ex-boyfriend wasn't happy that he left you the computer when he found out that you had taken off a couple of weeks later with somebody else. There are a lot of people who had the opportunity either to go into your house or to break into the house. It's not your house, the house. And all I'm asking you for is proof that it was your mother. Do you have any?
Other than that, she just told me she is the one that went in there and took some items.
She acknowledged she took 3 things. Is that right?
Right.
Did she ever acknowledge she took the computer?
No.
She ever acknowledged she took the dishwasher?
No.
She ever acknowledged she took the race car collection?
No.
How old are you?
21.
How old is your son?
He's almost 2.
Is the person that you were living with in the house that child's father?
No.
This man certainly isn't the child's father.
No.
Is that right?
Right.
Listen, you have a child. That child is entitled to have a certain amount of stability. Is entitled not to go from one boyfriend to another, to another, to another until you find yourself maybe when you're 40 years old. So you got a lot more to worry about than a dishwasher and a race car collection. You got to worry about a 2-year-old that you're supposed to be bringing up properly and setting an example for. It doesn't seem to me as if you're doing that. Oh, God. Okay. What proof do you have that your mother slashed your tires?
I had come down and stayed a couple days with my father at a local hotel, and that day they had been driving by, flipping me off, cussing me.
Who was they?
Her and her sister, her son. This was right after they had
How
stolen
old is her
his-
son?
He is 17.
Is that your brother?
Yes.
Well, then your brother. Not her son. It's your
No,
brother.
and her also. They was
Just
all
a second.
together.
It's not her son. It's your brother. So your mother and your brother and your aunt. What were they doing?
They would drive by, flip us off. They would scream things. Her and her boyfriend would circle the parking lot. The next morning I got up. The passenger rear tire of my car had been slashed.
So other than the fact that they were there the night before, you have no proof that your mother did that.
There would be nobody else that would do that. I mean,
It's very possible your mother did it. It's very possible your brother did it. It's very possible your aunt did it.
She
You
has
understand?
no friends or family, so.
I mean, do you understand what I'm saying to you? It's possible. But that's not what we deal with in court. We don't deal with possibilities. We deal with what is provable. Now, you want to tell me about this counterclaim you have for the refrigerator and the damage to the house?
I have proof here of everything that's been done to the home, and from Clinton Todd that he took the computer and the dishwasher.
But he gave those to, we had bought some other things together that were paid off, and we sat down and made an agreement, and I have it where he had signed it, what he took, and he said that would be fine since he took the things that were paid off.
Let me see yours. Did you tell him at that time that you had met somebody else?
I hadn't met him when, I didn't even know him when we had separated.
That's not true.
That's not true.
That's not true.
No.
Ha, listen to me. That's not true. Who has the Pontiac Grand Prix car?
I do.
You working?
No.
How are you paying for a car? Listen to me. Don't give me an I. How are you paying for the car?
I was working for my father.
But you're not working now, and you didn't work last month. How did you make the last 2 payments on the car?
I made those payments.
Baloney. Baloney. All right, show me the refrigerator. I mean, that's the main thing that we're talking about.
Okay, there's the refrigerator. I also have other pictures where there's other things tore up.
You don't know who did that either because the house was open.
Right.
Right. Oh, she's a slob.
Yes.
She's a slob.
I have the pictures of what they done to the house when
I'm
they
just showing,
went in.
just a second. I'm not even looking at the damage to the house because I can't tell who did the damage to the house because the house, according to your mother, was open.
Right.
So we don't know who went into the house.
Right.
Right? Could have been your soon-to-be ex-husband. It could have been Mr. Todd who got angry when he went to retrieve his stuff. Just like I said to your daughter, you need proof. I don't need any proof for this. This is pretty disgusting. Whoever left the refrigerator in this condition, really just a pig. But we don't know whether your daughter was the pig or your husband is a pig. It could be that your father's a pig. It's either one of the two of you. Either you're the pig or your father's the pig. But since we can't prove that you're the pig, I can't award your mother any money on her counterclaim. So your mother is going to see to it that your son gets back his swing set, his bike, and his red wagon. The remainder of the complaints are dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Mrs. Assistant Eva Reininger and her husband, mechanic Raymond Reininger, are suing their neighbors, landscaper Brad Lignar and his wife Deborah. The Reiningers claim the Lignars' dog, Sammy, destroyed their backyard.
Mr. and Mrs. Reininger, it is your claim that the defendant's dog damaged some property of yours. Tell me about that.
Somewhere around the 2nd or 3rd week of February, we found the dog wandering around our home.
What kind of dog was it?
Black Labrador. We saw he had a tag on with a telephone number on it. So we took the dog in, and I made a phone call. The phone number that we called was disconnected. I looked on the computer on a reverse directory, and I found the address. We went to the home. We noticed that there was nobody home. It was about a mile away from our home. And we had left a note that we had found the dog.
And you kept the dog in your house?
In our backyard. We have 2.5 acres fenced in. 2 or 3 days, we kept going back to see if anybody was there. We had also called animal control to let them know if anybody phoned in that they had a missing dog, that we had him. Finally, on a Monday, I had gone by the house again, and there was a car in the driveway, and I asked them if they were missing a dog, and Mr. Lignar said, yes, you have my Sammy. And they have a big fenced-in yard, and he said, our problem is he keeps jumping out. At that point, I said, would you like to come and get him? He says, well, where do you live? I said, about a mile down the road. At that point, he said, no. He says, just open the door, let him out, tell him Poppy's home, and he'll come home by himself. So I was on my way back, and then I saw Mrs. Lignar coming to get the dog. So we stopped in the street. The dog went and got in the truck with her.
Okay, so she actually then came
She
to the
was,
dog.
yes, she was on her way there. A week, 2 weeks went by. All of a sudden, we look in the backyard, and there's Sammy scaling our fence in our backyard, and now he's got a longer piece of chain attached to him. So he was with us again for a couple of days, and by now he had started.
Did you call them again?
Yes, we did. We tried calling, and nobody was answering. So at this point, I was starting to get a little fed up, and I said, this is ridiculous. They had told us the last time that they had gone to Daytona for 4 days, and apparently the dog was left unattended for 4 days while they were away. At this point now, I had already contacted the humanitarians who I work with. I work with Animal Rescue, and I work with several animal organizations. They were all willing to come and take Sammy if they did not want him. Now, we started noticing he was digging huge holes in the backyard, and he was digging out our shrubs. And now he was at the point where he was jumping over our fence and jumping back. Then we had a phone call. We had a message on our answering machine from Mr. Lignar saying, I know that you have my dog. I'd like you to bring my dog back. So we brought the dog back, and I guess my husband met with Mrs. Lignar and said, your dog has done several $100s worth of damages to our shrubs, our hedges, our fences, our bushes. You need to have someone come over and take a look at the damages. Well, they never came back. Well, Sammy must have come back 2 or 3 more times and kept jumping over our fence. At one point, we had him in our screened-in porch while he went through our screened porch. It's 2 years old, and it was custom built. The final straw was 2 o'clock in the morning. He came over our fence again, and we have a doggy door because we have 4 dogs of our own. Well, he came in through the doggy door, and he jumped into bed with our 4-year-old and our 2-year-old and scared the living daylights out of them. And to this day, we cannot get our kids to sleep in their own bed because they're terrified that this dog is going to come in and scare them.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Eva and Raymond Reininger are suing their neighbors, Brad and Deborah Lignar, for damage to their backyard. The Reiningers say their dog, Sammy, is the culprit.
Go ahead.
We have estimates. We have pictures of the damage of what the house looked like before Sammy, after Sammy. And what we did was we just went to a local gardening store and got estimates on how much it would cost to replace the plants and the shrubs. And we got an estimate from the people who did the screen on how much it would cost to repair. These are the before and after pictures of Sammy. And these
How
are
old
the
was
estimates.
Sammy?
I believe they told me at the time that he was a little over a year old.
Okay, who's going to speak for your family?
Me, Your Honor.
Okay, I'd like to hear you.
Well, the dog got loose when we were in Daytona. My daughter was coming over to feed my animals. Okay.
How many animals do you have?
I have 1 black lab and 2 cats.
And the black lab was kept outside?
Yeah, he was outside dog.
Never comes in your house?
No, he comes in. She doesn't like because of the dog here and stuff, but I sneak him in.
So the dog was outside day and night when you were away?
Yes.
Didn't you ever hear of a kennel?
Yes, ma'am.
So what's wrong with a kennel?
Well, he protects the house. If anybody tries...
It's not protects the house if he's not there.
Well, somebody let him loose.
No.
Oh, yes.
Well, they didn't let him loose.
Well...
They didn't let him loose.
One of the neighborhood kids has let him loose before. You know,
so if you know that that happened before, then you should have taken steps and used a kennel.
Well, what I can't understand is they said Sammy turned around and broke the chain. Well, I have the dog's chain right here.
Well, we didn't have a ghost dog. It was your dog.
Yes, ma'am.
They did not go and get your dog. So why didn't, when they presented you with these bills, why didn't you take care of them?
I wasn't home at the time.
Well, what makes you think you're not responsible for these bills?
I don't see it's my dog's doing it. You know, maybe once or twice, but, you know, they have pictures every day that they said it was my dog. There's neighbors got other black labs, and they have a female black lab.
So?
Now, how do I know their dog didn't do it?
You don't, except that they say so. Did the Reiningers ever call you and indicate to you that they could place the dog?
No, she did not. If she did, she got somebody else's phone number.
Well, let's go back to the first time they came. Mrs. Reiniger says that the first time she came and said she has your dog because she had to go and find you, you said, we'll just open the gate and tell him Poppy's home and he'll go home. Does that sound right to you?
No, I told her, I said, where's the dog at? She says, my house, chained up, in her backyard. Well, if you were going to get rid of a dog...
So what did you tell her to do?
I told her, unchain the dog, tell him to come home, he'll come home. If not, I'll come down and get him.
Is that stupid?
No.
I mean, is there something wrong with you? Your dog's been missing, you're gone. Somebody, total stranger, goes to the trouble of finding out where you live.
This was the second time.
I'm talking about the first time. Finding out where you live, coming to your home and saying, we have your dog, we've taken care of your dog while you've been on vacation in Daytona, okay? We've taken care of your dog and protected your dog. Wasn't hit by a car, was fed, was cared for. And instead of you getting into your car and going over there and saying, thank you very much, I'm sorry for any trouble or inconvenience, you say, oh, just open up the door, let him go, tell him Poppy's home. What's wrong with you?
I don't know where she got this Poppy stuff from.
Probably from you.
No, you're wrong.
Yeah, right. And it kept happening again and again and again. So clearly, something was wrong with the security system that you had, unless you believe that these people came and stole your dog out of you.
They might have done that, too.
Are you under psychiatric care?
Yeah.
Huh?
No.
Are you under psychiatric care? You on any medication?
No.
And then you're just being a smart mouth. Where is Sammy now? How is it that he hasn't been back to your house in how long?
It's been quite a while.
Where is he now?
She had him, my wife had him
put to sleep.
Why did you have him put to sleep?
While all this has been going on, I had taken Sammy to get him neutered. And when I took him in to get him neutered, he was diagnosed with heartworm.
so I had to have him put to sleep.
You don't put a dog to sleep who has heartworm. You treat him.
No, they said it was too
They said
too
he
far
was
gone.
into the advanced stages, so.
Well, if he was in the advanced stages, it means you weren't giving him heartworm medication, which you're supposed to give your dogs. That's what dogs get, heartworm pills. So you know, especially they're outdoor dogs. Why weren't you giving the dog proper pills?
We were.
If a dog is getting heartworm medication regularly, they do not get heartworm. Unfortunately, Mr. and Mrs. Reininger, you're only suing for $470. I say that unfortunately because these are the most irresponsible people that I've met in a long time. That's just damage to your yard and your property, and not for the trauma that Sammy caused when he just came into the room. He didn't hurt your children, but he came in the middle of the night. Your lawsuit seeks $470. Judgment for the plaintiff. Don't get any more dogs.
Bodies are excused. You may step out.
8-year-old student Ryan Vlock is suing 21-year-old student Jason Vonford for medical bills and pain and suffering as the result of an assault.
Order. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 76 on the calendar in the matter of Vlock versus Bondrak. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
What is your first name, Mr. Vlock?
Ryan.
Ryan? How old are you?
20.
And you? What's your first name?
Jason.
How old are you, Jason?
21.
Oh, okay. Mr. Vlock, according to your complaint, the defendant assaulted you outside of a bar after you had been drinking together and doing some sort of a beer game inside the bar. Is that right?
It was a duplex, a house.
It was a house?
Yes, duplex.
Duplex?
Yeah.
What I find interesting is that you claim he assaulted you and you were severely injured. Is that right?
Yes.
So you must have been in a lot of pain.
Yes, Your Honor.
Must have had a lot of suffering.
Yes.
So one would think that you think that your pain and suffering is worth something.
Yes.
Could you tell me why you're only suing him for $500?
I didn't really understand the amounts you can get, and I didn't want to.
Well, you know the difference between $500 and $5,000, don't you?
Yes.
Well, were you in pain $500 worth or $5,000 worth?
I'd say it's
maybe
close to-
$2,500.
I'd say 2,500. It would be up.
But it wouldn't be $5,000.
No.
Maybe it could be $2,300. Could it be $2,300?
Yeah.
Ryan.
Yes.
Maybe $2,300.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now tell me when this drinking party happened in the duplex.
I believe it was in October 28th.
You believe it was October 28th?
Yeah.
Well, is there anything that you have that would make you sure it was October 28th?
I had the case report and the ticket right here. It's, yeah, October 28th.
A ticket report?
Yeah, I have.
What kind of ticket, sir?
The ticket that the police officers issued the defendant.
Did you get one too?
Yes.
You got one too? What
Yes,
was
but
your ticket for?
It was disturbing the peace, but it was dropped.
Okay. So tell me all about the party.
Well, we were playing a drinking game called Beer Die.
Called what?
Beer Die, like the dice.
Beer die. Now, I would probably understand what that was, but I know that Bird wouldn't understand that. So I want you to explain to Bird exactly how that game is played.
You give a partner, and 4 people play, and it's like a rectangular table, and you sit on each end with cups, for each person having a cup that goes in the corner, and you try and take a die and sink it into the other team's cup, or get it so it hits the table and they don't catch it to get a point.
And then what do you do with the beer?
Drink it. If you sink it, you got to chug it, and if it hits the cup, you got 5 drinks to a cup. You just got to drink each time it hits the cup and refill.
And how many people were playing this moronic game?
It was just us 4. It's only 4 at a time. There are people in the garage watching.
So there were 4 of you, and in your group of 4
Yeah.
that was playing this game, he was one of the 4?
Yeah, but not. His other partner's not here.
But he was in
Yes,
the 4?
yes, he was.
That's just, he was in the 4. And how long had you been playing this game?
We played 3 games. It maybe lasted an hour to an hour and a half.
And during that time, everybody was dying and chug-a-lugging.
No, it wasn't much drinking going on. We were gambling for money, so it was more intense going.
Were you working at the time, Ryan?
No, I'm a full-time student.
Student. Did they teach you this in a course?
No.
Course curriculum?
No, ma'am.
No, it is not. What school did you go to at that time, Ryan?
The UNL, University of Nebraska, Lincoln.
And what about Jason over here? Was he a student too?
Yes. Yes, I am.
And whose duplex were you in?
A mutual friend of ours.
Who won the game?
They won the first 2, and they wanted to leave, but I talked them into staying for another one, go double or nothing, and we won that one, so it broke even.
Go Nebraska. So then the game is over.
Yeah.
Everybody leaves?
No, when we won right away, the defendant got up. He was kind of upset, and he was kind of talking how he liked to fight and how he kind of wanted to fight. And I was kind of in the heat of the moment, and I got up and I had words with him in the garage. We step outside, and he takes his shirt off right away. He was in front of me. And then I get out there, and we had some words. And then the owner of the house comes out and separates it and sends us on our way, or at least me and my friend on the way. So we continue to walk away from the fight, and we get to the sidewalk right before the street starts. And his partner that he was playing with, kind of, I don't know if he jogged down or he got up in front of us and stopped us. And he was trying to instigate a fight between me and the defendant, calling me and trying to get me to go back and just trying to instigate it so I go back. I didn't want anything to do with that. I was already told to leave. So I just, after asking him twice to get out of the way, I just gently pushed him. It wasn't... Gently pushed him. Just to move out of the way, and we continued walking.
Gently.
It was just...
Okay,
it wasn't...
Go ahead, Ryan.
Well, I made it right to the curb when I heard footsteps coming, and I managed to turn, and right when I turned, I was just blindsided and taken out. And I was ended up, I guess... You
were what out?
I was, like, knocked out, basically, for a while. I was...
Well, taken out and knocked out are two different things.
Yeah.
Taken out, they don't say in Nebraska.
Oh, I don't... well, yeah, well, I guess it was a tackle from what I hear, but...
Spend more time in your English class, Ryan.
I'm an engineer major, I don't...
You still have to know how to speak English.
All right.
Go ahead.
Well, like I said, he tackled me, and I guess when he was going to tackle me, I turned right into his fist, which produced 9 stitches.
So you weren't blindsided. He was going to tackle you.
I just turned and I just got clocked, so I didn't...
So you don't know what happened?
I guess he kind of saw it a little bit, but I just turned, I heard footsteps coming, I just turned and just was, I thought it was a punch from what I hear, but I was told later that he was going to tackle me, and I turned into it. So I don't know how he was tackling me, but it was the fist right to my eye, though.
And you got 9 stitches, and you were really injured, and your clothes got ripped, and all that other kind of nasty. All right, Jason, let me hear your version of this.
Okay, we were playing the beer die game, right? We won the first 2 games. He was kind of upset about it, you know, talking trash, calling us names, you know. We're just like, whatever. We were there to have a good time, you know. And we were going to leave, you know, take off, you know. And he's kind of...
Listen to me. I'm really sensitive about this. I want you to continue your testimony, and I want you to leave out the words you know.
All right, now, I'll do my best.
No. Do your best isn't good enough. You do it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
At least one other guy kicked me in the head, knocked me out unconscious. I have a picture of my face.
Don't care about it.
Okay. Then from there...
It's not that I don't care. Just that I don't care.
And later today...
He was yelling. We woke my effing neighbors up, and one of his friends had apologized to me, and Mr. Booth yelled, "Sorry, hell, I fell."
We were pretty intoxicated.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Ryan Vlock says college schoolmate Jason Vondruk assaulted him during a beer drinking game. Jason says Ryan hit him first.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I lost my story. Okay. We were,
he was trashing you.
Yeah, we were going to take off, you know, and he was kind of upset that he... Okay, we were upset. He was upset that he lost the game, and we were going to take off, and he talked us into staying. He was kind of upset, so, you know, we kind of felt bad for him. And we stayed for another game. They won. He was still calling us names after the game, you know, and it got taken outside, and the party was kind of in the garage and outside. There were people in the garage, and there were people outside, like, on the cement. And I look over, and he pushed my friend, like he said. He pushed my friend. It wasn't a gentle shove. It was a push.
Of course it was a push.
Yeah, so I went in to get in between it, and I backed up my friend, and next thing I know, I get hit in the head. And I turned around and clocked him, and I took him to the ground, put him in a headlock.
Now you got hit in the head by whom?
By
him.
You
don't know?
By him, from behind.
Well, how do you know that it was him if it was from behind?
Well, because he was right here, my friend was right here, and I was backing him up, and he was the only guy that was behind me, so it was him.
So you assumed it was him?
No, I didn't assume it was him, just because he was the only one that it could have been, because he was the only one that was behind me. But anyways, after we got to the ground, and...
You got to the ground?
We both went to the ground. Just me and him were on the...
After he tackled me.
Me and him were on the ground. We were wrestling around on the ground, right? And then his witness over there, and at least one other guy jumped in and kicked me in the head, knocked me out unconscious. I have a picture of my face from when I was unconscious.
Don't care about it.
Okay. And then from there...
It's not that I don't care. It's just that I don't care.
Right. Right. And from there, I was knocked out, and Lena saw it. She was trying to hold him back because my friend said that even after I was knocked out on the ground unconscious, he was still going after me and two of his friends, and 2 or 3 guys were kicking me on the ground, kicking me in the head, and it's a pretty graphic picture that shows you. It'll show my face, but you don't care. But that's pretty much the deal, and she knows the rest. After I was knocked out, the ambulance came and took me to the hospital.
What about the plaintiff? Was he taken to the hospital too?
Yeah, my friend took me to the emergency room.
And that's where you got your stitches.
Yes. Can I go over some? We were never wrestling on the ground, and I never punched him. He didn't even get in between me and his friend. All it was his friend got in our way. I pushed him out of the way, and we kept walking. He never entered that scene at all until we got to the end of the street and ran up on me.
Ryan, you had been drinking for at least 2 hours.
The police showed up, and they let us drive.
The police let you drive?
Yeah, we weren't. That's why I mean we didn't drink too much, and the police let us. He drove me right to the emergency room, right from the scene.
Was he playing too?
Yeah.
Maybe they have a higher threshold in Nebraska. You don't let a 20-year-old college student who's been drinking for 2 hours, who's just been in a brawl, get into your car and drive anywhere. That would seem to be foolish, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Now, Ryan, would this whole incident have happened with Jason and ambulance and stitches if you hadn't been playing this stupid beer game?
It would never happen.
What does that tell you, Ryan?
Shouldn't play it.
And what does it tell you about wasting my time and the time of courts with your stupidity? I don't care if his face looked like it was used as a football in a pro game. The two of you deserved what you got. You were behaving like idiots. You're supposed to be intelligent college students. You're wasting your time with a stupid game. Both of you said things that you shouldn't have. Both of you were ready to fight with each other before this started. You both had attitude, and it got out of hand. What do you want from courts that have important things to deal with?
Well, I understand if it was a mutual conflict or if we were at it, but we were walking away, we were going towards the car, and we were leaving. We were done with the situation, and like I said, he ran up from behind after his friend tried to get...
No, listen to me, Ryan. According to your testimony, the first person that put their hands on another person was you.
Yes.
Was you. You say, I just tapped him out of the way and told him to move. Now, what if when you put your hands on this other person, because he had had too much to drink, he fell backwards, hit his head against a rock, and died? Would you have been responsible?
Yes.
You would have said to me, I just touched him. He was drinking, and he fell over, right? It would have been an accident, right? Just the whole thing got out of hand, right? So on a scale of $1 to $2,300 for your pain and suffering, what do you think you're entitled to?
$2,300. Like the scratches I had lasted forever. I had a black eye, the 9 stitches, the lacerations from the concrete when we landed on it.
Now, my next question is, this happened some time ago.
Yes.
How many times have you played this beer game since then?
We haven't played it.
Perfect. That's your lesson. Your case is dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I think it's pretty pathetic.
Basically, I witnessed Ryan attacking my friend Jason.
He totally hit me from behind, a cheap shot.
They got a little psycho from drinking and losing.
He got it worse than I did, so that's all I care about, I guess.
19-year-old college student Eloisa Gibbs is suing schoolmates 25-year-old Brian Mbemba and 20-year-old Mitch Seiden for denting her car during a fight. Brian is countersuing, claiming Eloisa is trying to get him expelled.
Order. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 108 on the calendar in the matter of Gibbs versus Mbemba Seiden. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have seats, please.
Who is Mr. Seiden?
Brian.
And what's your first name?
Brian.
And yours?
Mitch.
On your birth certificate?
Mitchell.
Mitchell, I'm not your friend.
Okay.
Mitchell. Now, Miss Gibbs, did you know Brian and Mitchell before this incident?
No, ma'am.
Stand up straight. According to your complaint, Miss Gibbs, you're sitting in your car, and these two idiots were having a fight.
Yes, ma'am.
And they ended up on the hood of your car, causing dents in the hood of your car. You want them to be responsible.
Yes, I was studying for a final.
Sitting in your car?
Yes, ma'am.
Brian and Mitchell say that A, there was no damage to your car, and B, if there was damage to your car, the other one did it.
Okay.
And then we have Brian, who is counterclaiming, because he says that because you are vindictive in pursuing this matter, he will probably be expelled from school and wants you to pay for his semester's tuition. That's your counterclaim. Is that
Yes,
right,
ma'am.
Brian?
Yes, ma'am.
Please don't laugh. Please don't laugh at Brian. All right, Miss Gibbs. What was the date of the incident?
May 13, 2002.
What time?
It happened, I'd say, around 1:40.
In the afternoon?
Yes, ma'am.
Where did this happen?
This happened in Nassau Community College by B1 in the south parking lot.
Did you see this fight before it ended up on the hood of your car?
I saw it from beginning to end.
Tell me what you saw.
I saw Brian walking towards the school, and he was passing a green Chevy Malibu. And in the green Chevy Malibu, there were two girls and Mitchell. As he was passing, I guess somebody said something. He stopped, turned around, walked back towards the car, got into a confrontation with one of the girls through the passenger window. That's when I saw Mitchell exit the car. Brian began to argue with Mitchell. They got into each other's faces. Brian hit Mitchell, and they began fighting. That's when I saw Brian.
Would you just a second? Would you go over and have a brief word with him?
Sure.
Thank you.
What I need for you to do is I need for you to respect this court. So
Yes,
if you
sir.
would stand up straight.
Yes, sir.
And try to restrict your laughter.
Yes,
okay?
sir.
My man.
We're sorry to disturb you. You have your train of thought?
Yes.
Brian hit Mitchell.
Brian hit Mitchell. They continued fighting. Next thing I know, Mitchell's body is on my car. Brian is on top of Mitchell. I see him hit Mitchell a couple of times. Then Brian completely flees the scene. At that point...
Took off?
Yes. When he took off, I got out of my car, confronted Mitchell, told him, look at the damage that you've done to my car. I want this taken care of. That's when I got the phone number of one of the girls that was in the car with him in the green Malibu. So I can get in touch with him to get the money for my car.
Have pictures of your car?
Yes, I do. I have the police report. I have pictures of my car.
Let me see it all.
The whole time that this was happening, I was on the phone with my boyfriend
report.
from the United States Marine Academy.
Thank you. So it wasn't the hood of your car, it was really the side
It
panel
was
of
the
your
side, the side front panel of the driver's side, and there were some dents on the hood. And an object couldn't have done that, like me hitting something or something
No.
crashing into my car, because the paint is in perfect shape. There's no scratches or anything.
Okay. Now, Brian, I would like you to tell me, you're passing by this green car, and evidently you wanted to say something to one of the gals in the car. Tell me what you said to her.
Well, actually, what happened was somebody shouted something from the car. There was a laugh. There had been a lot of ridiculing by these people before. It was finals week, and I was going to walk away, but I was under so much pressure from my test. I said, you know, I'm tired of putting up with this. I went back to the car.
What did they say?
They were laughing. Somebody shouted a profanity I'd rather not say. And,
You could say it. I've heard everything.
call me a...
Someone in the car?
Yeah.
Male or female voice?
It sounded like a female voice. So I approached the car, and right away they started denying it, and we mixed words. Mitch got out of the car, and we...
When you say you mixed words, what did you say?
You know what? I can't remember word for word. I maybe, you know, just yelled back and forth. Here's where the true story starts now. He got out of the car, Mitchell. We confronted Elias, my witness. He was involved, too, although she never even remembers him being there, so I don't know which fight she was watching.
Which actually I do.
Elias comes up, he tries to break us up. At the time, there was really going to be no confrontation. What happened was, Mitchell, I don't know, like, went to push me away a little bit, and I made contact with him. At that time, he turned around, he went to his car, he grabbed what was an ice cleaner, you know, one of those brush stick ice cleaners, and he came at me to hit me. Elias tried to grab him to stop him. I tried to grab the stick. That's when we got into a scuffle, which lasted about 20 seconds, maybe 25 seconds. I never threw the first punch. I never ever put Mitch on top of the car. And after the thing, I did not flee the scene right away. We walked away, we calmed down. I left the school so there would be no further problems. I never even seen her there. I never saw a car get hit by anybody. I wasn't on a car. I surely didn't put him on a car. I didn't punch him first.
Now we'll hear from you.
Well, I was in the car, the girls, and we were laughing, just waiting for class to end, just hanging out in the car. And Brian had walked by. I don't know if they made a direct statement towards him, but he took it that way, came to the car, started telling the girls he's gonna strangle them, or like, you know, like just do it, you know, being a bully. And he asked me if I had a problem. I said, no, you know, I got no problem. So he told me to get out the car. I got out the car to try to tell him, relax, you know, we don't need to fight. You know, you're 25, I'm 20 years old, there's no need for this. And he headbutts me. So I fight back, and then as I'm fighting back, his friend comes and they say they broke it up, but where I come from, if you get into a fight one-on-one and the other person's friend grabs me, I think, it's a 2-on-1. Then I went back to the car, got a shovel, a scraper to defend myself because he's a pretty big guy, little guy, got his friend with him. I'm with 2 girls. I struck him with it, I had to do what I had to do. And then we had a little scuffle, this and that. I don't know if we dented the girl's car or if it was done like that already, but she had confronted me saying this happened, and if it did happen, then I'll take care of it, but if not, then I don't really think we did that damage.
Now I'd like to hear about your counterclaim.
Yeah. Up to this point, I have no previous record. I have no arrest record. My academic record is stellar. I made the dean's list the past 2 years. I'm too old to be getting involved in frivolous encounters. She tells the dean, and her story has so many holes in it, it's hard for me to even sit there and listen to it. And now because of this, my records are impounded, so I can't transfer schools. The least I'm going to get is academic probation, which ruins my scholarship chances, which I have plenty of. And at most, I'm getting expelled. So I'm going to lose a half semester of my life for this, for a false statement, because I know absolutely 100% I did not dent her car.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't. You know one thing. You know when you were passing the green car and somebody called you a...
Yes, I know that
that you should have kept walking.
I should have, but...
Right, that you know.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
At the moment when these two were...
Look right here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know, Brian was just a little upset at these
Look at me.
And later today...
I said I will definitely honor our initial agreement. I don't in any way want to...
Stick you.
Right. She started to get really upset.
Well, just show me the rest of the payments that you made.
That's the only payment that I made.
Why?
That's
Why?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. College student Eloisa Gibbs says her car was damaged during a fight between schoolmates Brian Mbemba and Mitch Seiden. Brian and Mitch are blaming each other.
So you're dealing with a couple of girls, 19, 20-year-old big mouths.
Yes.
Right? Who call you a name. You're not a are you?
Constantly, absolutely not.
All right. So that you knew it wasn't true when they called you that bad name.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So you keep on walking.
I understand.
You keep on walking. That you know for sure. Then we go back to the police report. Police interviewed witnesses who stated that Mitch Seiden was the person who exited the vehicle to fight, and that they did, in fact, fall on the complainant's vehicle.
Okay.
Independent witness, not her. You had no vendetta against her. She doesn't even know who you are.
Absolutely.
Why
But
in the world?
I see this as an opportunity to make money off of something that was already there. Hey,
Oh,
look,
really?
fight, opportunity. Let's make these guys pay for my damage.
My boyfriend saw my car prior to me going to school and knows there was no damage
Miss
to my
Gibbs,
car.
Miss Gibbs, you need not answer him. Now, in all fairness to you, Brian, you have a witness here. I will hear the witness.
Thank you.
Who wants to stand up and be counted?
I'll stand up, Your Honor. At the moment when these two were...
Look right here.
Oh, I'm sorry. When these two were all fighting, there was no force against any car. Nobody fell on any car. There was no need for her to explain the car dent. There was these people right here didn't cause.
Brian was walking by himself past the green car. Where did you come from?
I came back with him.
Just a minute. Brian is walking past the
Brian
green
walked
car.
past the car, and then I see him turn around and walk back to the car.
Yeah.
I tried to catch up to him to see what his problem was. When I went up to the car, and he was trying to ask the girls who were calling him a name or something, Mitch stepped out of the car and told Brian that it wasn't him. I don't know, Brian was just a little upset about the girls laughing at him or calling him a name. So
Look at me!
These two started to fight a little, but I didn't see them fall on any car nor cause a dent to any car at all.
Thank you very much for your participation.
You're welcome.
Brian, your counterclaim is dismissed. It's nonsense.
Okay,
And as
thank you.
far as the damage to the plaintiff's car, there isn't a question in my mind that the two of you caused the damage to the car. You should have kept on walking past the green car. And Mitch, you shouldn't have gotten out of the green car.
And I just try to calm him down.
You shouldn't have gotten out of the green car. Whatever the situation was, the two of you were responsible for her damage. So, judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $870 to be shared by the two defendants, and the counterclaim is dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
If I dented the car, I must have been blacked out during the time because I can't recall it at all.
I believe that Judge Judy made the right decision.
Whatever happened, happened. Whatever the way the case went. Everything works out the way it does.
If you know you didn't do anything wrong, make sure you got it right.
Stay in your house, lock your doors, and don't go outside so you don't get sued.
20-year-old Annalisa McDonald and her brother, 17-year-old Terry, are suing 17-year-old Jillian Bortz and her brother, 19-year-old Christopher. Annalisa and Terry claim Christopher vandalized their vehicle. Jillian is countersuing, claiming Terry stole $1,200 from her.
Order. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 12 on the calendar in the matter of McDonald Klein versus Bortz. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. You folks have seats, please.
Well, I want to tell you, trying to figure out this case made me a little dizzy. So I'm going to test out the facts on Officer Byrd, see if he can get them from what I understand the facts are from your papers. You're Terry.
Yes, ma'am.
Who's Jillian?
Yeah.
According to what I understand, Jillian made the stupid mistake of bringing $6,000 in cash to school one day. Is that right, Jillian?
Yes.
You were going to buy a car?
Yeah.
Terry offered to give you a ride.
Yeah, he told me he would take me to get it.
To school?
No,
And for the car?
To get the car.
And you go into school, and you decide to leave the $6,000 in Terry's car.
Yeah.
You come out and find that from the $6,000, there's $4,800. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Terry says, I don't know where the money is, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You go home, you tell your brother, and you probably tell your father and what happened. And you and your brother decide to go over to Terry's house to confront him about the money, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You claim that when they came over to your house to confront Terry about taking her money, that he, the brother, Christopher, took a bat and bashed in
I didn't even bring a bat. Oh, sorry.
And bashed in your car.
It was my mother's car. I was the adult at the house at the time.
Bashed in the family car. They say that when they got there, Terry and somebody else came out and started to bang on their car. They want damages that it is alleged that you did to their car and their house. Do we understand that now?
I got everything you said.
Oh, good. That took me a while to figure out.
I'm glad I got the Reader's Digest version.
Now I'm going to start with you. Why would you bring $6,000 in cash to school?
Okay, because my mom was going out of town and she was going to buy me a car because I have a son and like my car didn't have air conditioner, and I was just excited to get it.
Just give me the Reader's Digest version, as Byrd says.
Okay, so I went to the bank and just brought the money to school because he said he'd take me, so I left it in there so that, because like people
In
go
where?
through into Terry's car.
Where in the car?
Under his seat. Because I drive his car to get lunch every day, so I was taking his car, and so I just put it under the seat in there because at school people go through your stuff, and I didn't want it taken at school, so.
All right, now, Terry, did she show you how much money was in the envelope?
I didn't find out that she placed the money in my car until we were already, after we ate lunch, and she had still had the keys.
Ma'am, during third period, that's when I got to school because I don't have first two periods. When I got to school, I asked Terry, I'm like, Terry, I have $6,000 with me, I don't want to carry around. Can I please put it in your car?
Could you talk slower, please?
Sorry. So I asked him if I could put the money in his car. He gave me the keys. During third period, I went and put it in his car, and then I had the keys again until lunch. So he knew I put it in there way before lunch.
During third period, she was telling everybody, yeah, I'm going to go get my car today, I'm so happy. And she said, I'm looking for Dwayne, which is one of my friends and like her boyfriend. So I'm looking for Dwayne. I said, why are you looking for Dwayne? So I need to hide my money in his car. I said, you can hide your money in my car if you want to. She said, no, that's okay.
No.
And about her saying I was going to take her to go get her car after school, I said that for a brief moment, and at the same time I said, oh wait, I have weight training after school, I can't do it. She was with Dwayne after school, when she came to the weight room to ask us if she could look at my car, because Dwayne was taking her.
Ma'am, they weren't having weight training for a couple weeks, and then that was the first day they started having weight training again. He didn't even know till after his weight training class, which was like right before lunch. So he didn't even know till after lunch that he couldn't take me.
How many people did you take out for lunch?
There was 2 people in there. I was in the car the whole time. It was under my seat.
But there were 2 other people in the car. Is that right?
Yes.
All right, so now you find that the money is missing. You go back home.
No.
Tell me what you did after you found the money missing.
He said he had weight training, so I went back to the school because he had weight training still, and I wanted to look in his car. And so, because Dwayne took me since he said he couldn't, and me and Dwayne went in there, and I asked him if I could go through his car, and he went through it before I did, you know. He's like, oh, no, it's not in here, and just locked his car.
So what did you do the next day?
We went to his house to ask him about the money, and he has my brother's amplifier. It's for a stereo.
Okay. Now you can tell me what happened when they came to your house the next day.
Okay, Your Honor. About 12:30 Saturday, there was like a loud bang on the door, and we all were like, what is that? And my brother's friend opened the door and said, it's Dylan and her brother, you know, they're mad. And they're screaming, all the neighbors are coming outside because we're standing at the door. I'm telling them, you need to go. Then I saw that he had a bat. And I said, you need to get out of here right now because you have a weapon, you know. And that's when they got mad. They left. They were calling us, and we're coming back with a gun. I mean, my witness, I have a neighbor here that lives right next door to us. She saw the whole thing. She was on the phone with the police. Then we started hearing a bam, bam, bam.
Now I'm shooting.
If you say another word,
I'm sorry.
you better worry about the other arm.
And,
You understand?
Hold on.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
How was I going to hurt you if I call you a name? And I didn't even call you the name.
No,
I
I never said. Hey! Stupid! Shut up!
I'm just trying to
That's
hear
the
a lie.
third time I told you.
Whatever. Whatever.
Like whatever.
Your Honor, he never directly called me and just...
You don't have to explain anything to me.
Okay.
You know, he's got mush in his brains.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Annalisa McDonald and her brother Terry McDonald claim Jillian Bortz and her brother Christopher Bortz vandalized their car with a baseball bat. Jillian says Terry stole $1,200 from her.
Go ahead.
Okay, so when I came outside, I saw the neighbors, a couple of neighbors outside, and they were all on their phones calling the police. And I saw my brothers at the end of the apartments chasing after them, and they, you know, they were in their cars. They
I
were
missed
gone.
this.
They were like
That I missed.
already, they were speeding off. And so, and then I looked around the corner, I saw the car, and I was like, oh my God, you know, I have the pictures here, and it's obvious it was beaten with a bat.
Yeah, I'll take a look at the pictures. Now, what better grasp can you lend to this, Terry?
All right, my friend, I asked him to go get the door because we heard the beating at the door. He said, Terry, you need to come out there. I went out there, and Jillian was standing there with her brother. And the first thing he's, give us the money and give us the amp now. I'm like, so at that point I'm mad because first she's accusing me of stealing money. It's the second time I've heard it. First time it was just her mom talking to my sister. And we're mad. I'm like, get out of here. We ain't got your money, this and that. And he said, yes, you do. Give us the money. And so he steps in my sister's face. So I get him out of my sister's face. I step in front of him.
How did you do that?
He was all in her face. My sister saw he had a bat. You guys need to get out of here. So I'm like, so he started getting in her face. That's when I stepped in front of her. And that's when he had a bat the whole time. I wasn't worried about it. I had my friends here. You guys need to
How did his hand get broken?
Yeah, explain that one.
Yeah, I will. So we were mad.
Just
but
a sec.
All right.
Shut up.
Oh, I knew you were going to tell me that. All right.
Go ahead.
So everybody was cussing and exchanging words and snap.
How did his hand get broken?
We don't. He says it happened. Well, we get to it.
You're the one with the grasp,
Right,
Terry.
right. It's all a story I was trying to lead to it. And so he left down the stairs. He was going downstairs with his sister. We closed the door and went back inside. And they're like, Terry, put your shoes on. And then, squash, squash. We hear windows getting busted. So we all run out the house. He's running with his bat, running away to his truck. She's running to her car. And me, my best friend James, and my brother Randall are running after him. Randall was the only one that even got close to him, and it was after he was already in the truck speeding away. My brother had a broomstick, a plastic one, and he just swung at hit the back of the truck, you know, hit the cab part, and then that was it. He sped away. We were all mad. We didn't find out.
No idea how
we didn't find out. He said his hand was broken until the cop told us. If I was going to beat him up or something, he would have been real beat up.
Now, I want to know how this happened to the car.
It's my turn. Okay, we went up there. We asked for the amp and the money. They all come to the door. She's calling us white trash, all kinds of names. They come with a pool stick. They all
Who's they?
Him. He's the one that hit me. He hit me with the pool stick. He swung for me. I ducked, hit me in the hand, broke my hand. I mean, you can see it, right? So at that time, we're running away. I see something on the ground, like a piece of wood or something, because they live upstairs. It was downstairs. And I'm just trying to defend myself. I mean, I'm so angry right now, and then I just start swinging at their car. This happened after, the car happened after the fact that they broke my hand.
Are you right-handed or left-handed?
Right-handed.
It must have been painful for you.
It was painful. I mean, I should be suing them.
Just a minute. You didn't let me finish.
I'm sorry.
That must have been really painful to pick up a bat or a piece of wood after your hand is broken and swing the bat at least 10, 12 times in order to cause this kind of damage to the car. That must have been real painful.
It was only 4 times.
But when there were 4 times that it was painful, is that right?
It wasn't too bad.
Wasn't?
Not that bad.
Because your adrenaline's pumping and you don't, like, pay attention to what's going on.
Really? Where did you get your medical license? I'd like to hear the witness. Who's the witness? Could you step up, please? Could you tell me your name?
Tiara Young.
Miss Young, you're a neighbor?
Yes.
So tell me about it.
At first, I just thought they were just an argument. I didn't get involved with the police until he called them several times. Then I heard Annalisa say, I know you don't have a bat. What are you going to do with the bat? So I didn't get involved until I heard bat, and then there was mention of I have something else for you, kind of as if he had a gun. So I called the police. It seemed like he was instigating the most. So I went downstairs to try to see the license plate number or what type of vehicle, because I knew their physical description. I was watching through the blinds the whole time. That's when I walked up, the first time, it didn't really sound like it was something hitting the car, kind of like the dumpsters right by our building, so it seemed like maybe somebody was just throwing trash in the bin. When I turned, that's when I saw him with the bat at the car. I did not try to stay to see him beat the car in anymore. He had already called them. I was just trying to get out.
How was I going to hurt you if I call you a name? And I didn't even call you the name.
No, I never said
Hey!
you called me the name.
Stupid! Shut up! That's the 3rd time I told you. Right?
I'm just trying to.
That's the 3rd time I told you.
Whatever.
Not whatever. Is that your father?
Yeah.
Believe me, he's not pleased with you right now.
Not too.
Your Honor, he never directly called me.
You don't have to explain anything to me.
Okay.
You know, he's got mush in his brains.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy, Annalisa McDonald, and her brother Terry claim their car was vandalized by Jillian Bortz and her brother Christopher.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Miss Young. You have a counterclaim for damage to your car, your home, and the return of the money that was stolen. Let's get to the damages to your car and your home. Who wants to report on that?
I can.
Go ahead.
Okay. I had to file a police report with the school about the money, and they gave both of us a copy of it with both of our addresses on it. The same day that they gave him a copy of it, my house, it was just my dad was there. They threw a brick through our kitchen window.
Who did?
It was them. His friend James, his best friend James that he just told you about, his truck was identified there by 2 different people.
James?
Yeah, James.
Just a second.
Okay.
James? That's not him.
Yeah, but they identified them.
Who's they?
2 neighbors.
Are they here?
No, they're not.
What's next?
My dad knows more about what happened that night than my
Was
dad.
your father
just
at
called me.
home?
Yeah, he was at home. It was 1 in the morning.
Mr. Bortz, is that your last name?
Yes.
Can you tell me what you saw?
I was asleep. I was awakened a loud banging noise. And a few minutes later, a neighbor had drove up in her house. You can see through the kitchen window. And I just glanced that way, and I see the kitchen windows broken out.
But you didn't see who vandalized your house?
No, I did not.
Did you see who vandalized your car?
No.
Did that happen on the same night?
This was the same, yes.
What happened to your car?
Same thing, large bricks or rocks thrown at it.
Was there any witness to that?
Yes.
Is that witness here?
No.
Have there been any arrests in that case?
I have no idea.
But you plan on pursuing that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Judge, about that same night, me and my brother were in our bed asleep at 2 in the morning. The cops came, asked us about it. Yeah, told us that there was a kitchen window broken in.
I wouldn't say anything if I were you right now.
Oh, but they cleared it.
I wouldn't say anything if I were you right now. That case may not be over. Jillian, so let's talk a little bit about your money. I don't know who took your money. I know that you don't put money in a car. in a school parking lot, use the car, take people around for lunch, talk about the fact that you're going to buy a car, and then ask a court to make a determination that without any proof whatsoever, any direct proof, that somebody is responsible for that money being missing. The person who's responsible, the only person I know who's responsible for that money being missing is the person who was foolish enough to take it to school and to put it under the front seat of a car in a school parking lot. That's you. So I can't reward that with a judgment against Terry on your counterclaim because there isn't sufficient proof. The only thing I do know is that you and your brother is clearly a hothead, went to their house, and I may not necessarily fully believe these two people because they have a little bit of an axe to grind with this whole thing because they had the interaction with you, but I believe Miss Young. I believe her when she says there was nobody who was hitting you with bats and pool. I'm speaking before your brother smashed out the car, which he acknowledges that he did. If you hadn't put yourself in that position in the first place by going over there with your brother, we wouldn't be in this mess. Can I see an estimate for the damage to the car,
I have
please?
the estimate and the breakdown of the cost under it.
Now, I assume that on your side, the person who assaulted you, if you claim that you were assaulted and you broke your hand, you were assaulted with a deadly instrument, I assume that you filed a police report and insisted on an arrest. Is that right?
I did not.
Why not?
Because I was leaving the next day to go back home.
Tell her how
What difference does it make if you're assaulted?
I tried to go in, I live in Hawaii. I tried to go down there to the police station. They said, just take care of it here.
You have to take care of it
They
here.
said they can't do anything down there because it's in Hawaii. It's a different, it's separated from Vegas.
You go to the police and you
I
say,
did
I
go
was
to,
assaulted.
that's what I just told you. I went to the police station.
I was assaulted. I want to pursue the matter. You have a father. How old are you?
19.
You have a father. You say, I'm filing a complaint. I want the person who assaulted me to be punished. I want them arrested. They assaulted me.
Well, I didn't do that.
Well, that's what I would do. If somebody assaulted me and broke my hand. In any event, I'm dismissing your counterclaim. You did absolutely the wrong thing by going over there. Mr. Bortz, I don't know who it was that caused the vandalism to your house. I assume that you have an open complaint and that the police will follow up on that complaint. This is not an old complaint. So I assume that if they find after interviewing witnesses that this young man had anything to do with vandalizing your house, you will pursue that complaint, as well as pursuing the complaint with regard to your son's assault. I mean, I would be more worried about it if my son's hand was broken than if my window was broken in my kitchen, right? Of course. As I said, I don't know who took the money, but you're going to get your deductible paid. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $500. The counterclaim is dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
20-year-old pizza delivery boy Jed Lowen is suing his former roommate, 23-year-old retail salesperson Kelly Postumus, for unpaid rent, unpaid loans, and the value of a dog. Kelly is countersuing for the return of her property.
Order. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 35 on the calendar in the matter of Lowen versus Postumus. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Folks, have seats.
Mr. Lowen, it is your claim that the defendant owes you for rent, some money that you loaned to her, and is responsible for your puppy being lost. She says that you owe her money because you stole stuff from her storage unit. So you're going to explain this situation to me, starting with how she came to live in your house.
Okay, she married a good buddy of mine. She moved in. They both shared a room for $500 a month. And
so you had a friend
yeah,
who married her,
yes,
and he was your tenant.
yes.
When did he move in?
Beginning of September 1st.
With his wife?
Yes,
That's the defendant.
yes.
And then what happened?
Well, actually, they moved in, and then they got married like a week later. And then he paid $430, and then he left September 26th. He took off. He ditched her, and then she ended up staying because she had nowhere to go, so I let her stay. And then, so I'm asking for rent money.
Let's move on. So you let her stay.
Yes.
And did you have a rental arrangement with her?
Yes.
What was the arrangement?
Well, first of all, when they were married together, it was $500 a month. And then, you know, if it's just her, it's $400 a month.
Starting in October?
Yes.
Did she pay you in October?
No.
Did she pay you in November?
Nope, she never paid any rent.
Just a second. Didn't pay you in October, didn't pay you in November. When did she move out?
She moved out January 8th.
Did she pay you in December?
Nope.
And she was just your tenant?
Yes.
No romance, no nothing like that?
She tried to lure me into a relationship, but...
But you resisted?
Right.
Fine. I just want to know, this is just rent?
Yes.
And she's staying in her room and you got your room?
Well, actually, she wouldn't leave me alone. She was like a tail, I guess.
No, Mr. Lowen, listen to me, sir. I have to find out if this is a pure tenancy relationship or if something happened, because that's part of her defense. So she did not only stay in her room, but sometimes you shared a room.
Right.
Okay. When did you start sharing a room?
Well, she didn't have a bed, so I had an extra bed, and she stayed on that for a while, and then she jumped in my bed.
When did you start sharing a room, sir?
We started sharing October 4th.
Okay. Now you want to tell me about these loans that you claim, sir?
She came up to me at work and asked to borrow $60. And her and my roommate, Angie, went out and got cats. It was a surprise, so I gave her the money. She comes home with the cat.
When?
I'm not sure on the exact date.
What else?
And then I gave her, she asked...
Stop playing with the cards.
Sorry. She asked, I borrowed a couple $100 to her in cash.
When?
I'm not sure.
For what?
Miscellaneous stuff. I'm not even sure what it was
Before or
for.
after she was sharing your room on October 4th?
After.
What else?
And then I gave her... She went on house arrest for a few weeks. And
Why?
I paid for all the house arrest.
What was she on house arrest for?
That I'm not exactly sure. She was, I wouldn't call her an honest person, so...
What else?
She wanted to borrow a couple $100 to go Christmas shopping for her 3 kids, and I wrote a check to the bank, and I got a receipt and a check saying that I got the $200 from my bank to loan her.
Oh, this better pick up, Mr. Lowen. Let's go.
And then I also gave her $30 for she needed to get diapers for her kids, and then I also she ordered Chinese food one day at work, and I went out and picked up the Chinese food, and then I paid for it, and of course she never paid me back for it. And then on November 1st, she cleaned out cleaned out her room, and I had to pay $6 extra for garbage. And then when she finally moved out, I had to pay another $4 to get rid of some more stuff.
Judge Judy, am I allowed to step in here for a minute?
No.
Let
me stop you, Mr. Lowen, because I'm really getting very bored. And if I'm bored, Bert is bored. With your $6 and your $4 and your $20 and your $23. From October the 4th until she left in January, did she share your room?
Yes. Well, not the whole time.
Half the time?
About that, yeah.
Forget it. Can you say these words? No, I'm not interested. Could you repeat those words to me?
Yeah, no, I'm not interested.
No, I'm not interested.
I'd like to call my witness. She can verify that she would not leave me alone. I asked her several times to leave.
Mr. Lowen, you don't ask her several times to leave. You call the authorities and say, I want this person who's trespassing in my house out of my house. You have no lease with her. She had no right to be there. But you can't call the police to come to your house to evict a trespasser who you're sleeping with. That's a problem. Do you work for a living?
Yes, I do.
What kind of work do you do?
I deliver pizzas for Domino's Pizza.
Okay. If Domino's Pizza calls somebody and says, we have an offer. You get a 12-inch pizza with 9 toppings for $6.99 and somebody doesn't like pizza, you know what they say? No, I'm not interested. But listen to me, Mr. Lowen. You don't eat the pizza and then say, no, I'm not interested. Do you understand my point?
That's a good analogy, yeah.
Good.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Would you tell me what happened with the puppy?
I bought the dog for $150. So the next day, she threw a Halloween party, and the dog disappeared.
Jed had taken her to court and sued her for the puppy, too.
And later today,
I started crying, and I was screaming. I was saying, you know, stop. And he said, shut the F up and get over it.
Listen, Miss Campbell, get over it.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Jed Lowen says his relationship with roommate Kelly Postumus quickly turned romantic. Now, he claims she owes for unpaid loans, rent, and for the cost of a puppy.
Now, madam.
Yes.
You say that he took stuff out of your storage unit.
Yes.
What was your stuff doing in storage?
It was after I moved out of his house, I placed it all in storage.
Did he have a key to the storage unit?
Actually, yes. When we first got it, he put it in his name. So he's the only person that had a key.
What was in your storage unit?
I had everything. My bed, my crib, my table, my TV, my PS2, my VCR, all my clothes, my kids' stuff.
Mr. Lowen, did you take any of the stuff out of the storage unit that belongs to her? Hmm?
It's a bunch of junk in her storage.
Did you stop paying for the storage?
I signed the lease, and I was on it for, I got a month free, and then like a month later, we went and got it arranged so it was in her name.
You went together?
Right.
Now, when you went together, did you check the storage unit?
I didn't even look in there.
You went down to the storage unit with him and had it put in your name?
I met down there and...
Just answer my question.
No, not with him.
You met down there?
Yes.
Did you look in the storage unit at that time?
He wouldn't give me the key. He wouldn't let me go in there. He had bought me a car.
Just a sec. If you went and put it in your name and paid for it, then they'll give you another key.
Your Honor, the lock that I originally had on there, he went and cut it off and put his own lock on. And he had bought me a car. And he told me the car, I had moved to Illinois, and he told me he wasn't going to sign over the storage until he got the car back. So that day, he went down with his mom, got the car, and I have in the signed agreement here saying that once he got the car, he would sign it over, give me the keys, he wouldn't take anything or nothing out of my storage. And the next day, he came over, signed it over, but he didn't give us the keys.
Other than the fact that he had the key, you have no proof that he took anything out of the storage unit. Is that right?
Yeah.
All right, now tell
I
me
have my
about
witness, though, that knows everything that was in storage. I have
I don't care.
pictures.
Any proof that he took stuff out of storage? Why didn't you pay him any rent?
I did actually pay him rent when I was working at Domino's. I signed over 2 checks to him. One was for $350 and one was for $400.
The last item on your agenda is this puppy.
Yes.
Right? What happened with the puppy?
Well, I wrote a personal check, which I got the check right here. And she was my witness. She lived with me at the time.
Would you tell me what happened with the puppy?
I bought the dog this October 30th for $150. So the next day, she threw a Halloween party.
Who's she?
Kelly.
Yes?
She threw a Halloween party and the dog disappeared.
Where were you?
I was working.
What happened to the puppy?
Actually, somebody took the puppy from the party we had, but he wasn't working. He was there. And Angie, that's sitting over there, it was probably about 3 months ago. She was an ex-roommate, too. Jed had taken her to court and sued her for the puppy, too. This is the third person.
Were you sued for this puppy?
Not for the puppy. It was for the cat.
Takes all kinds. Mr. Lowen, you have no case. You ate the pizza, sir. You ate the pizza. And, madam, you have no case because you can't prove to me that he took anything out of your storage.
Can I show you pictures?
Goodbye. Have a happy life. It's been nice spending the morning with you. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
She's scandalous. Doesn't pay anyone anything.
I got pictures of everything being damaged. My entertainment center is totally scratched up. I mean, just everything that was in there.
I never touched her. I never broke anything. She made it all up, and her junk wasn't worth anything anyways.
Everything was going fine between me and him, and then all of a sudden his parents are like, if you don't choose her or else you're never going to see us again, so that's when he kicked me out.
Safety coordinator Corey Wacker is suing his ex-fiancée bus driver Sandra Jo Matza for phone calls to a psychic hotline. Sandra Jo is countersuing for the cost of a wedding dress and the return of her engagement ring.
Order. All rise.
Yeah, this is case number 23 on the calendar in the matter of Wacker versus Matza. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Mr. Wacker, you and the defendant, according to what I've read, were engaged to be married and were living together since 1999. Is that correct?
Correct.
And it is your claim that when she moved out, you got a phone bill of $1,500 for the psychic hotline, and you claimed that the calls were her calls.
That's right.
But you acknowledge making some of those calls yourself.
Not the 900 calls.
You made no 900 calls
None.
yourself. Okay. Ms. Matza says she admits making half of the calls. She said you did make some of those calls. Her defense is that while you were together, she put her money in an account that was used for paying household bills, and there was more than enough money there to cover that phone bill. In addition, she has a counterclaim because she says you took back the engagement ring, you stole it out of her jewelry box, and she wants you to pay for the wedding dress because she had no reason to break off the engagement. That's your counterclaim, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So you started to live together in 1999, and you broke up when?
January 17th of '01.
Now, how did you handle the finances between 1999 and January of '01? Did you have a joint account, or did you have one account to pay bills, and was it your account?
Well, I put together a joint account, okay?
So you had a joint account.
Right. I had canceled out the joint account during when we had a problem before that January 17th date. I canceled all that account out, so that account was gone. Everything was in my name.
In the year 2000, did you have a joint account?
Yes.
And did you both put money into that account?
I did, yes.
You mean the defendant didn't put any money into that
Very
account?
little.
Very little is not an answer. She put money in that account.
Yes.
So if she put in any money into that joint account is both of yours, because no court, not this court, is going to go back for a year and figure, well, I put in $500, she put in $25. I put in $2,000, she put in $500. It's not going to happen. As long as she put in some money, that money was all of yours. Now, tell me the month you closed out that account.
It was closed out in January.
January of '01. Mm-hmm. Oh. And how much money was in the account at that time?
About $200.
You have any paperwork to prove that?
None.
Oh, how did you handle the finances with regard to rent and...
I paid all the bills. I signed all the checks. I signed all the mortgage payments. I signed everything. Everything was in my name because she couldn't have an account. She owed everybody so much money for everything that never once nothing could be put in her name.
Okay. Now, during the time that you were together, had the defendant ever made calls to the psychic hotline before?
Never. Never. She liked to go to psychics, though.
But this was the first time she had ever used the psychic hotline.
Correct. Matter of fact, the January 17th, was the date I told her that it was time for her to go and move out, and that's the exact date that she started making these phone calls.
Can I see the bill, please?
Absolutely.
So what were you trying to find out from this psychic?
Your Honor, it wasn't only me. It was him, too, okay? And he was not only calling these psychics
Judge, that's untrue.
Shh, don't speak. You see how quiet she was?
Because they were calling his house approximately 4:30 every night asking for him. He not only started this with calling these psychics, he went on the online at nighttime calling them, too. And I am the witness for that because I was sitting right alongside of him watching this.
What kind of work do you do, Mr. Wacker?
I'm a safety manager for a second largest school bus company in the United States.
You work Monday through Friday?
Yes.
What time?
Usually from 8 in the morning to 5 at night.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a school bus driver for the first largest school bus company, Laidlaw. And I work...
Just your hours of work?
6:30 to 5.
You drive kids to school and then you go home?
Yes, and I do trips in between.
Just a second. You drive kids to work and then you go home. Okay. Well, some of these calls are in the evening.
From that January 17th date on, I didn't spend very much time at home. As a matter of fact, I made sure I wasn't at home. And because I didn't want to be anywhere around her. As far as me making any phone calls to the psychic hotlines, there's a 1-800 number that you can call to get a voice stamp. Every one of those phone calls had her voice on it as a voice stamp.
All right.
Which means she made the phone call. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Now, I got the psychic calls. Psychic calls were $1,400.
Right.
Right? Okay. Half of that is $750 because he was still living together. Now, I want to move on to you. He took back
Yes,
the
ma'am.
engagement ring?
Yes. He stole it out of my jewelry box while I was in the process of moving.
That's okay. He's entitled to it back. He should have asked for it nicely, but he's entitled to it back. Engagement is over. Ring is given in contemplation of marriage. It goes back to the person who gave it. That's him. Let's get to the wedding dress. That's the wedding dress?
Yes, ma'am.
So why should he pay for it?
I can't wear it. I can't even sell it. I've put things in the courier post. No calls. I cannot
I don't
sell
think
it.
it'll fit me. So.
Cute.
Thank you.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Corey Wacker says ex-fiancée Sandra Jo Matza owes for unauthorized phone calls to a psychic hotline. Sandra Jo says Corey made those calls with her.
What other arrangements were made for the wedding?
None. There was no hall booked. There was no caterers. There was no music. There was
a
nothing
date
booked.
set?
Yeah, it was supposed to be July 7th.
Okay. And when did you buy the wedding dress?
I bought it in September, the year before, 2000.
Why?
Because he told me it was time, everything was serious.
Time for what?
For us to be engaged. So he told me, go out and buy your wedding dress, and that's what I did.
So, put it away. Maybe you'll use it again. He's not paying for that. But you also understand, Mr. Wacker, that I have to make a judgment with regard to these bills. You and the defendant were living... What? I'm speaking. You and the defendant were living together as a couple.
Correct.
Bills being paid as a couple. If, let us say, this relationship did not terminate in January or February and she made these psychic calls, what you would have done is had a fit.
I had a fit anyway when I saw the bill.
Well, but by that time you had a fit and you didn't have any of the perks that go along with the relationship. But if you were together, it's like, you know, one mate going out and buying 6 pairs of shoes. What are you, crazy? 6 pairs of shoes? You only have 2 feet. What can you use 6 pairs of shoes for? You have a big fight. And then it's finished, and you move on. You don't say, you're going to pay for every one of those shoes, go out and get a job. You don't. Whatever.
But may I interject?
Yeah, you may, but you get where I'm going, sir.
Yeah.
You were a couple.
But
Until
at that point, from the 17th on,
yeah,
or actually, the night before that, the 17th, okay?
Yeah.
It was the 16th, is when I told her to move. Technically, then we weren't a couple anymore.
Yes, you were.
And she made these calls, and she made these calls, and she shouldn't have, because she's trying to find out whether or not the relationship's going to continue to work or whatever. You know what I mean? Well, I guess who it was, Miss Cleo, or whoever she called, told her I guess it wasn't going to work, or didn't believe her, so she kept calling her. You know, I just don't feel I should have to pay for all of her phone calls when it was a proven fact that she made the phone calls with the voice stamps. Her voice is on every one of those
You're
phone
not
calls.
following me, sir. You're trying to say the relationship was over at the time when I told her it was over. You're living in the same house. You've been living in the same house for a couple of years. She needs time to put her things together, to find another place to live, to do all of those things. That's what happens
But
when
I'm
one
not
of these
asking her to pay anything else.
Hey, listen to me very carefully, sir. That's the drill. You're a couple. You come in here and you say, first I'm a couple, then I'm not a couple. You want your things back. You want the engagement ring back because the engagement was over. You're entitled to it back because it's over. Had you been married, you wouldn't get the engagement ring back. There are certain things that a relationship has as intrinsic to the relationship. In this case, since 1999, the bills were paid out of a joint account up until a couple of days before you decided to terminate it. So you lived as a couple. Half of the psychic bills come to $737. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $737. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
By the way, I wouldn't have needed a psychic to know this relationship was not going to work.
I can't believe she lied up there like she did about saying that I made these psychic phone calls.
He's a user, a loser. I'm glad she's got him, and I'm glad I'm out of it.
That's ridiculous.
I put closure to this. He can't. He needs to end it and get on with his life. I already did.
I guess she figures that these psychics are going to tell her what to do and all. I'm not going to deal with that, you know.
He's an idiot.
Leasing agent Veronica Ramirez and her husband, Juan Ramirez, are suing the father of Veronica's children, bartender Eloy Garza, for filing false charges with Child Protective Services. The couple claims Eloy accused them of child abuse.
Order. All rise.
Your Honor, this is case number 25 on the calendar in the matter of Ramirez versus Garza.
Thanks, Bert.
Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Miss Ramirez, is it Ramirez?
Yes.
I'd like you to sit down, sir.
Thank you.
You and the defendant have 2 children together.
Yes.
Were you ever married?
No.
But you are now married to this gentleman.
Yes.
Your claim is that because of false charges that Mr. Garza filed against you, you were forced to incur substantial legal fees and debts. False charges with regard to child abuse. He filed those complaints with Child Protective Services. And you want him to reimburse you for all of the expenses that you incurred as a result of these false charges. Is that right?
Correct.
Mr. Garza says that he merely reported what he saw and what his children told him. Right now I'm going to need a time frame. When did you and Mr. Garza separate?
I believe it was in 99.
And how old are your 2 children?
6 and 4.
So they were really tiny. They were a year
Yes.
old and 3 years old.
About 3 years old.
When did you remarry?
December 16th of 2000.
And when was the first report of child abuse?
Back in 2000.
When in 2000?
In August of 2000.
All right, so let me go to Mr. Garza. Mr. Garza, when did you first make a complaint to Child Protective Services?
It was back in August 2000.
And what was the nature of that complaint?
Well, pretty much child abuse. My kids were talking about how their stepdad would, slap them or hit them or, in that nature. I have papers here from the Child Protective Services. State
From August?
From May of 2001.
Well, let me take a look at it, please.
I also have police reports here and medical reports.
I see various letters. In some of the letters it says that they determined back in May of 2001 that the family, that is your family, does require our service at this time. I don't know whether they spoke to the children or not. So what you're telling me is in August, one of your children, probably the older one, was telling me that they were hit, but hit by the stepfather. And you reported that.
Yes.
What was the next report?
Well, after that, my youngest son, Isaiah, he came over and he went to the bathroom, and when he was urinating, he has a habit of he'll drop his pants down to his knees, and I noticed some bruises on his buttocks. And he had said that some ants had bit him. He was afraid to say it, so he had said that some ants had bit him. Finally, he came out and said that, that stepdad had, hit him with the black sandal, There was some bruises on there.
And did you make a report at that time?
Yes,
I have a report.
Medical reports from that, from the physician that saw him.
Can I see the report, please?
Yes.
Now you can stand up, Mr. Ramirez. Well, this second report was called in by the hospital, according to the doctor's notes, because the doctor found bruising noted to both buttocks on the child. Okay. Mr. Ramirez, did you, back sometime in 2001, hit one of the children, the older child, on the behind?
Isaiah, the smallest children, he was going through a lot of problems at daycare concerning when he would come back from his father's house. We tried disciplining him with timeouts, taking toys away from him, name it. It got to the point where we couldn't take it anymore. They didn't want him at the daycare. Took him home. I spoke to him. I spanked him. Next thing you know, I'm getting arrested because his father put charges on me. I got a paper here stating that...
No, I'm not finished yet. You spoke to him, and how old was he at the time?
He was 3.
3. So he was 3 years old.
The daycare was getting ready to kick him out because they didn't want him there anymore.
He was 3. I'm speaking. He was 3 years old. So you spanked him.
Yeah.
With what?
With a belt, ma'am.
With a belt?
Yes, ma'am.
On his buttocks?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have to attend any classes, Mr. Ramirez, as a result of this investigation?
No, we had a homemaker come and give us parenting classes.
Well, that's parenting classes. So you had to have services as a result?
Yes, ma'am, but from an hour and a half classes, it dropped down to 20 hours because the homemaker found it wasn't necessary, that we didn't need those classes.
Well, you do need the classes. If you think that it's appropriate to beat a 3-year-old with a belt, causing bruises sufficient to be noted by a hospital, then you need a lot of parenting classes, more than an hour and a half. 3-year-old child who was going through a state of mother, father, new father.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम दोस्तों, नई वीडियो के साथ तारिक गफूर आपकी खिदमत में हाजिर है। दोस्तों, ये मेरा दूसरा चैनल है। पहला चैनल जो है वो है यूज बाइक एंड पिक है। यह है यूज बाइक एंड पिक एंड टूर, और ये दूसरा चैनल है, उसकी ये पहली वीडियो है। और आज आपको मोटरसाइकिलों की मार्केट का विजिट कराते हैं, क्या रूटीन है, क्या रेट है आजकल। तो इंशाल्लाह इसके बाद जो इससे आगे जो वीडियो आएगी उसमें रेट और फ़ोन नंबर और फी दुकानदार की एक वीडियो हर दुकानदार की आएगी, डेली की वीडियो। और इंशाल्लाह आपको मोटरसाइकिल डिलीवरी भी करवाएंगे, और उसमें मैं अपना फ़ोन नंबर भी दिया करूँगा और दुकानदारों का भी। और आज आपको रेट मालूम करवाते हैं, मार्केट का विजिट भी करवाते हैं कि हमारे इलाके में राजनपुर में कैसी रूटीन है मोटरसाइकिलों की, कैसे रेट हैं। और अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह बहुत सारे लोग जो है ना दूर दूर से मोटरसाइकिलें मंगवाते हैं डिलीवरी, और अक्सर डीलर हजरात हैं जो मुझसे मुसलसल राब्ते में हैं। और अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह बहुत सारे मोटरसाइकिल मैंने डिलीवर भी करवाए हैं, और इंशाल्लाह इस चैनल पे भी यही काम होगा। तो बिस्मिल्लाह करते हैं, आपको अपनी मार्केट का विजिट करवाते हैं। तो शुरू करते हैं वीडियो। जी हाँ दोस्तों, ये है 25 मॉडल होंडा। 25 मॉडल माशाल्लाह फ्रेश गाड़ी, ये देख सकते हैं आप, बिल्कुल ज़ीरो के बराबर कंडीशन है। और इसकी रेट की जानकारी भी करते हैं दोस्तों से। राजू भाई के पास खड़ा है ये 7,320 किलोमीटर इसकी जेन्युइन रनिंग है, और ये बिल्कुल फ्रेश पीस है, बिल्कुल ज़ीरो के बराबर कंडीशन है। ये देख सकते हैं आप, 7,320 किलोमीटर रनिंग है, और इसका नंबर भी लगा हुआ है, आल पंजाब नंबर। और इसे स्टार्ट करके आपको इसकी साउंड भी सुनवा देते हैं। माशाल्लाह ज़बरदस्त बेहतरीन साउंड के साथ। राजू भाई इसके कितने पैसे हैं? 27,000। ये 2,27,000 इसकी डिमांड है। इसके फाइनल पैसे बता दें, ये सिर्फ विजिट कर रहे हैं, ये बेचना नहीं है, विजिट कर रहे हैं। दोस्तों इसकी कीमत जो है डिस्काउंट के साथ 2,25,000 रुपये में। नंबर भी लगा हुआ है, गाड़ी फ्रेश है, बिल्कुल ज़ीरो के बराबर कंडीशन है माशाल्लाह। ये रेट जानकारी दे रहे हैं आपको। और इसके साथ ये दूसरा पीस भी खड़ा है, ये भी 25 है राजू भाई, ये भी 25 है। इसका भी नंबर लगा हुआ है, आल पंजाब। और इसका बैक टायर जो है बिल्कुल न्यू है, और इसकी भी रनिंग आपको दिखा देते हैं, 1785 किलोमीटर। और ये भी फ्रेश पीस है, बिल्कुल ज़ीरो के बराबर कंडीशन है। 25 मॉडल होंडा 125। और इसके क्या पैसे हैं राजू भाई? 2,23,000। वाह भाई वाह, ज़बरदस्त कीमत के साथ। इंशाल्लाह आपका दिल खुश हो जाएगा हमारी राजनपुर मार्केट के रेट सुनकर। ज़बरदस्त बेहतरीन साउंड के साथ। और ये मिल जाएगा आपको 2,23,000 रुपये में। ये दो पीस आपको दिखाएं, इसके साथ तीसरा 21 वाला पीस जो है वो भी दिखा देता हूँ आपको। वो था 25, वो दोनों 25 से, ये है 21 मॉडल। ये भी जेन्युइन कंडीशन में फ्रेश पीस है, ये देख सकते हैं आप, होंडा 125 2021 मॉडल। और इसका नंबर भी लगा हुआ है, बेहतरीन कंडीशन के साथ। ऐसा ही मैं आपकी खिदमत करता रहूँगा इंशाल्लाह। डेली की एक वीडियो एक दुकानदार की अपलोड होगी। इसका भी नंबर लगा हुआ है, 21 मॉडल जेन्युइन गाड़ी, होंडा 125 ब्लैक कलर में। और इंजन पैक है, मुकम्मल कंडीशन में बताता हूँ। और हर किस्म का जो है ना चेंजिंग वगैरह जो होती है वो भी वाज़ेह तौर पे हर वीडियो में मेरे दूसरे चैनल पे आप जाके विजिट कर सकते हैं कि किस तरह की मेरी वीडियोज़ हैं। बेहतरीन साउंड, 21 मॉडल होना। राजू भाई इसके पैसे भी बता दें। 1,45,000। ये फ्रेश पीस है, फर्स्ट हैंड यूज़ है। ये आप देख सकते हैं, इंजन बैक है माशाल्लाह, रिम तारें हर चीज़ इसकी ओके। 2021 मॉडल होंडा 125। ये मिल जाएगा आपको 1,45,000 रुपये में। इसका भी नंबर लगा हुआ है। ये 3 पीस होंडा 125 दिखाएं, और इसके साथ ये सीडी भी दिखा दें आपको। 24 मॉडल, 24 पक्का है, ये पक्का 24 है। इसके दोनों टायर जो है न्यू है, गाड़ी फ्रेश है माशाल्लाह। ये भी फर्स्ट हैंड यूज़ है, देख सकते हैं आप कंडीशन। इंजन बैक है और एक्सीडेंट वगैरह नहीं है। इसका भी नंबर लगा हुआ है, वो भी आप पंजाब नंबर, वो भी आपको दिखा देते हैं नंबर इसका। और इंजन पैक फ्रेश पीस, ये भी 2024 मॉडल 67। डॉक्यूमेंट्स टोटल मौका पर है, राजनपुर मार्केट। इसके कितने पैसे हैं राजू भाई? 1,36,000 रुपये में। फ्रेश पीस 2024 पक्का, नंबर लगा हुआ है और बेहतरीन कंडीशन के साथ। ये देख सकते हैं आप माशाल्लाह, बहुत ज़बरदस्त। दोस्तों ये 25 मॉडल है, CD70, लेटर इसका ओपन है और थोड़ी सी रनिंग है इसकी, दोनों चाबियां भी हैं बड़ी, गाड़ी फ्रेश है माशाल्लाह। 869 किलोमीटर जेन्युइन रनिंग है इसकी और कीमत जो है इसकी 1,53,000 रुपये। गाड़ी फ्रेश है, जीरो के बराबर कंडीशन है, थोड़ा सा 800 किलोमीटर रनिंग है इसकी, दोनों चाबियां भी है बड़ी, लेटर भी ओपन है इसका। CD70 2025 मॉडल 1,53,000 रुपये, बेहतरीन कीमत के साथ, ज़बरदस्त। और इसके साथ ये अब्दुल्ला भाई 125 25 है, 25 मॉडल है ये, लेटर ओपन है इसका, कटा हुआ है लेटर, गाड़ी फ्रेश है, देख सकते हैं आप माशाल्लाह, प्यारी सी कंडीशन। और इसकी रनिंग जो है जेन्युइन वो भी दिखा देते हैं आपको, 3951 किलोमीटर रनिंग है, दोनों चाबियां भी है बड़ी इसकी। बेहतरीन फ्रेश पीस है। कितने पैसे हैं इसके? 2,15,000 रुपये में 25 मॉडल Honda 125 बेहतरीन कीमत के साथ फ्रेश पीस है, 3900 जेन्युइन चला हुआ है और दोनों चाबियां भी हैं बड़ी, फ्रेश पीस है, एक्सीडेंट वगैरह की गारंटी है, ज़बरदस्त। इसके साथ ये 24 है भाई, 24 है, ये भी फ्रेश है माशाल्लाह, 25 के बराबर ही कंडीशन है इसकी, ज़बरदस्त। नंबर लगा हुआ है इसका, लेटर ओपन है, कटा हुआ लेटर है, 24 पक्का है, Honda 125। ये सिर्फ आपको विजिट करवा रहे हैं राजनपुर मार्केट, और ये दूसरे चैनल की वीडियो बना रहे हैं, तो इसमें सिर्फ आपको मालूमात दे रहे हैं। इंशाल्लाह सेल होने वाली जो गाड़ियाँ हैं ना, वो डेली एक वीडियो आएगी आपके पास। फ्रेश पीस ज़बरदस्त, पिंडी इस्लामाबाद, काफ़ी सारे शहरों से डीलर हजरात जो है मुझसे रास्ते में और गाड़ियाँ मंगवाते हैं माशाल्लाह, अच्छी खासी रोज़ी भी कमाते हैं। इसके कितने पैसे हैं अब्दुल्ला भाई? 1,80,000 रुपये में फ्रेश पीस है माशाल्लाह, ज़बरदस्त, जीरो के बराबर कंडीशन है, 24 मॉडल Honda 125 और टोटल जेन्युइन कंडीशन में, ये देख सकते हैं आप, एक्सीडेंट वगैरह नहीं है, इस चीज़ की भी गारंटी है, ज़बरदस्त। ये रेड वाला 25 है अब्दुल्ला भाई जी। दोस्तों ये तीसरा पीस रेड कलर में Honda 125, ये भी 25 है, ये भी फ्रेश पीस है, ये देख सकते हैं आप, इंजन बैग टोटल जेन्युइन कंडीशन में और इसकी जेन्युइन रनिंग जो है 3277 किलोमीटर है और ये भी फ्रेश है, ये सिर्फ सर्विस नहीं हुआ खड़ा, इंजन वगैरह ओके है इसका और इसकी मुकम्मल कंडीशन भी आपको मैं दिखा देता हूँ। फ्रेश पीस है, ज़बरदस्त, 25 मॉडल रेड कलर में, लेटर इसका ओपन है, कटा हुआ है लेटर। ज़बरदस्त, बेहतरीन साउंड के साथ। इसकी कीमत बता दें भाई? 2,16,000 रुपये में 25 मॉडल Honda 125 बेहतरीन कीमत के साथ, रेड कलर में, लेटर ओपन है, 2,16,000 रुपये में बेहतरीन कीमत के साथ, ज़बरदस्त। अब्दुल्ला भाई ने बेहतरीन कीमतें दी हैं माशाल्लाह, और इंशाल्लाह आगे भी जो है ना सेल होने वाली वीडियो, ये सिर्फ मालूमाती वीडियो है आपके पास और कीमतें जानकारी के लिए। और कैसे लगे आपको हमारे राजनपुर मार्केट के रेट, ये आपने कमेंट्स करके भी हमें बताना है, तो दूसरा क्लिप बनाते हैं किसी और शॉप पे। शिरान भाई ये कौन सा मॉडल है? 16 मॉडल एडवांस है और ये टोटल जेन्युइन कंडीशन में, ये देख सकते हैं आप, मुकम्मल कंडीशन, CD70 2016 मॉडल एडवांस, नंबर भी लगा हुआ है, राजनपुर का नंबर है हमारे अपने शहर का और कंडीशन ये आपके सामने है, देख सकते हैं, ज़बरदस्त। इसके कितने पैसे हैं भाई? सिनान भाई कितने पैसे हैं इसके? फाइनल बताएं। 65 भाई की डिमांड है और ये मिल जाएगा आपको 62,000 रुपये में। CD70 2016 मॉडल एडवांस, इंजन ओके है, टोटल जेन्युइन कंडीशन में, आप देख सकते हैं, ज़बरदस्त। 2016 मॉडल CD70 62,000 रुपये में फ्रेश गाड़ी है और कंडीशन आपके सामने। यार भाई ये 25 है, 25 मॉडल है और इसकी भी कंडीशन देख सकते हैं आप माशाल्लाह, फ्रेश गाड़ी। लेटर ओपन है इसका, ओपन है, रनिंग जो है इसकी जेन्युइन वो भी आपको दिखा देता हूँ मैं। ये इसकी रनिंग है 1236 किलोमीटर, दोनों चाबियाँ भी हैं गारंटी के साथ। ये जेन्युइन रनिंग है, फ्रेश गाड़ी है माशाल्लाह। थोड़ी सी रनिंग है 1200 किलोमीटर और गाड़ी 0 के बराबर कंडीशन है। वैसे वो स्टिकर भी इसके साथ वाले जो हैं वो भी ऐसे खड़े हैं। 370 2025 मॉडल। इसके कितने पैसे जी? 1,53,000 रुपये में फ्रेश पीस 2025 मॉडल CD70 1200 किलोमीटर जेन्युइन रनिंग, 0 के बराबर गाड़ी। 956 सीरियल है और गाड़ी ओके कंडीशन में देख सकते हैं आप। लेटर इसका ओपन है। ये आपको 1,53,000 रुपये मिलने जा रही है। 1,62,000 ब्लैक पे सेल हो रही है 0। और माशाल्लाह ये बेहतरीन कीमत के साथ मिल रही है आपको, ज़बरदस्त। ये 25 है भाई, 25 एडवांस है। ये दूसरा पीस है और ये इसकी कंडीशन आप देख सकते हैं, ज़बरदस्त। 2025 मॉडल एडवांस। ये लेटर में है, लेटर इसका कटा हुआ है, लेटर इसका कटा हुआ है। 25 एडवांस है और गाड़ी ये फ्रेश है, देख सकते हैं आप, ज़बरदस्त। कितने पैसे हैं सनाम भाई जी? फाइनल 1,38,000 रुपये में आपको मिल जाएगी। 25 मॉडल CD70, 25 मॉडल एडवांस, लेटर कटा हुआ है, ज़बरदस्त बेहतरीन कीमतों के साथ। और ये सिर्फ मैं आपको विज़िट करवा रहा हूँ माशाल्लाह। ये राजनपुर मार्केट देख सकते हैं आप, मुकम्मल सेकंड हैंड मोटरसाइकिलें अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह। बहुत सारे दोस्त बाहर से मंगवा रहे हैं मुझसे, रब्ता भी करते हैं, मुस्तकिल रब्ते में हैं। और काफ़ी तादाद में मोटरसाइकिलें जो है ना डेली पेस पे मैं डिलीवर भी करवा रहा हूँ। और बहुत सारी रोज़ी भी कर रहे हैं। पिंडी से, इस्लामाबाद से, फैसलाबाद से, मुख्तलिफ शहरों से दोस्त रब्ता करते हैं, गाड़ियाँ भेजता हूँ। और जो डायरेक्ट मुझसे रब्ता करते हैं वो सेफ्टी तरीके से मैं खुद भी भिजवा देता हूँ, दुकानदार भी भिजवा देते हैं। अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह बेहतरीन कीमतें हैं हमारे शहर की और अच्छे रेट हैं, ज़बरदस्त जी। ये 23 मॉडल है नबील भाई, 23 मॉडल जेन्युइन कंडीशन में है। अच्छा ये 23 मॉडल पक्का है? पक्का 23 है दोस्तों। ये CD70 टोटल जेन्युइन कंडीशन में, इंजन पैक है, ये देख सकते हैं आप, मुकम्मल कंडीशन। नंबर भी लगा हुआ है, नंबर लगा हुआ है इसे, नंबर भी लगा हुआ है। और ये कंडीशन जेन्युइन है टोटल, एक्सीडेंट वगैरह नहीं है। 2023 मॉडल CD70। कितने पैसे हैं नबील भाई इसके?
ये आपको
1,22,000, 1,22,000 रुपये में CD70 23 मॉडल, नंबर भी लगा हुआ है, फ्रेश गाड़ी है, देख सकते हैं आप, मुकम्मल जेन्युइन कंडीशन है, ज़बरदस्त। इसके साथ ये दूसरा पीस भी 23 मॉडल है, ये भी दूसरा पीस है, एडवांस 23 है ये। और इसका भी नंबर लगा हुआ है, ये भी टोटल जेन्युइन कंडीशन में, इंजन पैक है, ये देख सकते हैं मुकम्मल कंडीशन, नंबर भी लगा हुआ है। 2023 मॉडल एडवांस। इसके कितने पैसे हैं?
ये आपको बैठ जाएगा 1,15,000।
1,15,000 रुपये बेहतरीन कीमत के साथ। 23 मॉडल CD70, 23 मॉडल एडवांस, 1,15,000 रुपये में, ज़बरदस्त। इसके साथ ये 22 मॉडल भाई, इसका भी नंबर लगा हुआ है, नंबर लगा हुआ है, ये भी टोटल जेन्युइन कंडीशन में, इंजन पैक है इसका। और ये देख सकते हैं आप मुकम्मल कंडीशन, CD70 2022 मॉडल। 22 पक्का है? पक्का 22 है। इसके कितने पैसे हैं?
ये आपको मिल जाएगा 1,13,000।
मुनासिब कीमत बताएं, ज़्यादा बता रहे हैं।
1,10,000।
1,10,000 रुपये में फ्रेश पीस है, ये भी 23 के बराबर कंडीशन है। 2022 मॉडल CD70 और नंबर भी लगा हुआ है इसका। इसके साथ है अभी पुराने मॉडल्स भी दिखा दें ताकि विजिट में जो है ना, ये 16 मॉडल है,
ये 16 मॉडल है,
16 मॉडल है ये। और ये कुछ तैयार होने वाला आइटम है। इंजन ओके, हेड सिलेंडर का काम जो हुआ खड़ा है, इंजन का कोई काम तो नहीं है भाई इसका, इंजन ओके और इसका नंबर भी लगा हुआ है। इसके कितने पैसे हैं?
ये आपको मिल जाएगा 60,000
फाइनल। डिस्काउंट के साथ बताएं रेट, गुंजाइश ना रखें। फाइनल है 60,000, 60,000 रुपये में। 2016 मॉडल CD70 कंडीशन आपके सामने। और टैंकी जो है इसकी वो लेमिनेशन हुई कड़ी है। और इसके साथ भाई ये यूनिक चाइना की थोड़ी मालूमात हो जाए, ये भी फ्रेश है, ये गाड़ी देख सकते हैं आप। 21 है 20 है, 20 मॉडल यूनिक है, नंबर भी लगा हुआ है, इंजन ओके है, फ्रेम इंजन ओके, फ्रेम भी ओके, इसका नंबर भी लगा हुआ है। कितने पैसे हैं इसके?
ये आपको मिल जाएगा 55,000।
फाइनल बताएं यार। नहीं बता रहे फाइनल। 54,000 रुपये। 55 डिमांड की है भाई ने, 1000 फिर मैंने गुंजाइश करवाई है। 54,000 रुपये में 2020 मॉडल यूनिक, टोटल जेन्युइन कंडीशन में इंजन पैक है, फ्रेम भी ओके है और ये कंडीशन आपके सामने। राजनपुर मार्केट ये सिर्फ आपको विजिट करवा रहे हैं इंशाल्लाह। फिर ये भाई 20 मॉडल है, 20 मॉडल है ये दोस्तों। इंजन पैक है इसका, ये कंडीशन आप देख सकते हैं मुकम्मल जेन्युइन कंडीशन में। नंबर भी इसका लगा हुआ है। इसके कितने पैसे हैं?
ये आपको 87,000
जी 87,000। फाइनल रेट बताएं, फाइनल रेट बताएं। 87,000, 85 कर दूँ? 86,000 रुपये में, 86,000 रुपये में दोस्तों 2020 मॉडल CD70, नंबर भी लगा हुआ है, टोटल जेन्युइन कंडीशन में। ज़बरदस्त। ये सिर्फ मालूमाती वीडियो है राजनपुर मार्केट के रेट जो हैं आपको बताने से। तो इंशाल्लाह सेल वाली मोटरसाइकिलें जो है ना डेली बेस पे एक दुकानदार की वीडियो आएगी और उसमें आप मोटरसाइकिलें ख़रीद भी सकते हैं, मुझसे भी रब्ता कर सकते हैं इंशाल्लाह। और मैं डिलीवर भी काफ़ी सारे मोटरसाइकिल करवा रहा हूँ। ज़बरदस्त। ये है जी मेरी राजनपुर मार्केट, माशाल्लाह ज़बरदस्त। जी दोस्तों ये है 16 मॉडल एडवांस और इसका नंबर भी लगा हुआ है। कंडीशन ये देख सकते हैं आप, थोड़ी सी रफ है और इंजन फ्रेम इसका ओके, नंबर भी लगा हुआ है। 2016 मॉडल CD70 और राजनपुर मार्केट ये सिर्फ आपको इंफॉर्मेशन दे रहे हैं और इंशाल्लाह फार सेल मोटरसाइकिलें वीडियोज़ जो होंगी वो आपको बाद में मिलेंगी। ये आपको मिल जाएगा जी 55,000 रुपये में। CD70 2016 मॉडल, नंबर भी लगा हुआ है। ज़बरदस्त। और इसके साथ 19 मॉडल CD70, ये भी टोटल जेन्युइन कंडीशन में, इसका नंबर भी लगा हुआ है। दोनों कंप्यूटर प्लेटें भी इसकी हैं पड़ी और ये कंडीशन देख सकते हैं आप। 2019 मॉडल CD70, टोटल जेन्युइन कंडीशन में और सर्विस वगैरह नहीं हुआ खड़ा मेरे ख्याल में। बाकी इंजन जो है ओके, इसका इंजन हेड सिलेंडर खुला हुआ है, इंजन का काम हुआ खड़ा है। और इसकी भी कीमत जी दोस्तों ये आपको 70,000 रुपये में मिल जाएगी। CD70 19 मॉडल, नंबर भी लगा हुआ है। ये सिर्फ आपको मालूमात दे रहे हैं और इंशाल्लाह डेली की वीडियोज़ जो हैं वो फार सेल वीडियो, एक दुकानदार की डेली वीडियो आएगी इंशाल्लाह। और बहुत सारी मोटरसाइकिलें जो है मैं डिलीवर भी करवा रहा हूँ। मेरा पहला चैनल जो है अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह मोनेटाइज भी हो चुका है और काफ़ी तादाद में मोटरसाइकिलें हमारी मार्केट में अच्छे रेट मिलते हैं और बाहर से डीलर हज़रात भी मंगवाते हैं माशाल्लाह। बहुत सारी तादाद में इधर मोटरसाइकिलें होते हैं। मोटरसाइकिलों का मरकज़ है राजनपुर मार्केट। और अभी ये 12 मॉडल CD है, इसका भी नंबर लगा हुआ है और टैंक टापे जो हैं इसके न्यू हैं। ये देसी स्टिकर लगे हुए हैं। शाखें बैग जो हैं इसकी वो चाइना वाली हैं और बाकी जो है टोटल जेन्युइन है। इंजन हेड सिलेंडर का काम जो है हुआ खड़ा है, नंबर भी लगा हुआ है और ये आपको मिल जाएगा सिर्फ 45,000 रुपये में। CD70 2012 मॉडल 45,000 रुपये में मिल जाएगा आपको। टोटल जेन्युइन कंडीशन में सिर्फ टैंक टापे जो हैं इसके न्यू हैं। शाखें भी जो बैक शाखें हैं वो चाइना की हैं और ये मुकम्मल कंडीशन आपके सामने है। बेहतरीन कीमतें होती हैं अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह। आल पाकिस्तान से अक्सर दोस्त मंगवाते रहते हैं मोटरसाइकिलें और इधर से मंगवा के डीलर हज़रात भी उधर अपना सेल करते हैं, अच्छी खासी बचत भी करते हैं माशाल्लाह। और अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह मेरे पास व्हाट्सएप पे बहुत सारे राब्ते हैं, टाइम बहुत कम मिलता है और दोस्त हज़रात जो डीलर हैं वो राब्ते में मुसलसल मंगवाते हैं मोटरसाइकिलें। मैं ऑर्डर भी बिल्कुल पूरे नहीं कर सकता, इतनी ऑर्डर होते हैं माशाल्लाह और एडवांस ऑर्डर पड़े हैं और डेली बेस पे मोटरसाइकिलें 2, 3, 4 मैं भेज रहा हूँ। पहला जो चैनल है मेरा मोनेटाइज हो चुका है और अभी जो है ना ये दूसरे चैनल की वीडियो बना रहा हूँ। इंशाल्लाह इसको भी बहुत जल्द हम मोनेटाइज करेंगे और इंशाल्लाह आप दोस्तों से मुसलसल राब्ते में रहेंगे और डेली की वीडियोस भी देंगे आपको। ज़बरदस्त। जी दोस्तों ये है 22 मॉडल होंडा 125। और कोशिश कर रहा हूँ कि हर किस्म के मॉडल्स आपको दिखाऊं ताकि आपको मालूमात हो हमारी मार्केट के रेट कैसे हैं। नंबर भी लगा हुआ है और फ्रेश गाड़ी है माशाल्लाह। इंजन पैक है इसका 22 मॉडल होंडा 125, फर्स्ट हैंड यूज़ है। कंडीशन आपके सामने है, ये देख सकते हैं। और इसको स्टार्ट भी करके आपको साउंड भी सुनवा देते हैं। पहले मुकम्मल कंडीशन देख लें। इंजन बैग है टोटल जेन्युइन कंडीशन में। होंडा 125 2022 मॉडल बेहतरीन कंडीशन के साथ, ज़बरदस्त। अब इसे स्टार्ट करके आपको साउंड भी सुनवा देते हैं। बेहतरीन साउंड। और कीमत जो है इसकी फाइनल डिस्काउंट के साथ 1,45,000 रुपये में आपको मिल जाएगा। दोनों कंप्यूटर प्लेट हैं, डॉक्यूमेंट्स टोटल मौका पर हैं और फ्रेश पीस है। ये होंडा 125 2022 मॉडल टोटल जेन्युइन कंडीशन में, एक्सीडेंट वगैरह नहीं है। इंजन भी पैक है। ये सिर्फ मालूमाती वीडियो जो है आपको दे रहे हैं। जी दोस्तों, ये है 125 दूसरा पीस। पहला दिखाया आपको 145 का और ये दूसरा है, इसका भी नंबर लगा हुआ है और इंजन पैक है। कंडीशन देख सकते हैं आप माशाल्लाह, फ्रेश पीस है। ये भी सेम उसके बराबर ही कंडीशन है जो पहले दिखाया आपको। और इसका भी नंबर लगा हुआ है। 22 पक्का है। इसके कितने पैसे हैं भाईजान? 1.5 लाख का है। 1.5 लाख में आपको मिल जाएगा ये होंडा 125 2022 मॉडल। ये दूसरा पीस है और ये भी इंजन पैक बेहतरीन कंडीशन के साथ। गोरचानी मोटर, राजनपुर मार्केट, ज़बरदस्त। इसके साथ भाई 23 मॉडल आपको दिखाते हैं। CD70 इंजन पैक है इसका और टैंक टापे जो मुकम्मल इसके लेमिनेशन हुए खड़े हैं। गाड़ी ये भी फ्रेश है माशाल्लाह। नंबर भी लगा हुआ है इसका। CD70 2023 मॉडल बेहतरीन कंडीशन के साथ। इस 23 मॉडल के पैसे बताएं भाई।
1,12,000
क्या बात है, 23 है? क्या बात है, क्या बात है जी। बेहतरीन कीमत के साथ 1,12,000 रुपये में 2023 मॉडल CD70 टैंकी टापे लेमिनेशन है इसके। फ्रेश पीस है, दोनों टायर न्यू है, नंबर भी लगा हुआ है। ज़बरदस्त कीमत के साथ 1,12,000 रुपये में 2023 मॉडल CD70। ये कंडीशन आप देख लें, एक्सीडेंट वगैरह नहीं है, फ्रेश पीस है, नंबर भी लगा हुआ है। 23 मॉडल CD70। ये जी 22 के पैसे बता रहे हैं भाई। 23 फ्रेश पीस है और ये मिल रहा है आपको 1,12,000 रुपये में बेहतरीन कीमत के साथ। ज़बरदस्त, क्या ही बात है। ये कलेक्शन दिखाइए आपको और इंशाल्लाह मज़ीद भी डेली की वीडियोस आएंगी। ये सिर्फ मालूमाती वीडियो है आप दोस्तों के लिए। और ये आप देख सकते हैं मोटरसाइकिलें काफ़ी तादाद में और माशाल्लाह इधर बहुत अच्छे रेट होते हैं हमारी मार्केट के। और ये हम राजनपुर मार्केट कवरेज दे रहे हैं आपको। डेली की वीडियोस आएंगी इंशाल्लाह। और ये मोटरसाइकिलें काफ़ी तादाद में दुकानें भी हैं, शोरूम भी है यहाँ पे। तो इंशाल्लाह डेली की वीडियो जो है कार सेल मोटरसाइकिलों की वो हम अपलोड किया करेंगे। सिर्फ ये आपको मालूमाती वीडियो दे रहे हैं। पहली वीडियो है दूसरे चैनल की और इंशाल्लाह डिलीवर भी करवाएंगे मोटरसाइकिल और दुकानदारों के नंबर भी देंगे, अपने नंबर भी देंगे। ये सिर्फ मालूमाती वीडियो दे रहे हैं। इसमें सेल होने वाला कोई आइटम और राब्ते वाला कोई नंबर आपको नहीं दिया हमने। तो जी दोस्तों, ये 22 मॉडल होंडा 125 और नंबर भी लगा हुआ है। फ्रेश पीस है माशाल्लाह, ज़बरदस्त कंडीशन के साथ। देख सकते हैं आप मुकम्मल कंडीशन, इंजन पैक है और ये फर्स्ट हैंड यूज़ है। ये आप देख सकते हैं, ये निशान जो है ना जेन्युइन वैसे ही खड़े हैं। इंजन को चाबी तक नहीं लगी हुई। गाड़ी फ्रेश है माशाल्लाह, बेहतरीन साउंड के साथ। होंडा 125 2022 मॉडल। इसके कितने पैसे हैं अपना अतर भाई?
भाईजान फाइनल आपके लिए
जी दोस्तों, फ्रेश पीस है 22 होंडा बेहतरीन कंडीशन के साथ, नंबर लगा हुआ है और ये आपको मिल जाएगा 1,45,000 रुपये में बेहतरीन कंडीशन के साथ। ज़बरदस्त। और ये जो है ना मालूमाती वीडियो है। इंशाल्लाह जो सेल परचेज वाली वीडियोस होगी वो दूसरी वीडियो होगी और ये पहली वीडियो है दूसरे चैनल की। अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह पहला जो है चैनल मोनेटाइज हो चुका है, उसके बाद दूसरा जो है हमने स्टार्ट कर दिया है। प्यारे भाई, ये 21 है। 21 मॉडल है, इंजन पैक है, गाड़ी फ्रेश है माशाल्लाह, ज़बरदस्त कंडीशन के साथ। और इसका नंबर भी लगा हुआ है। ये दूसरा पीस दिखा रहे हैं आपको अतर भाई के पास। और अतर भाई माशाल्लाह हमारे प्यारे भाई हैं, लड़ाई झगड़ा भी होता है। पहले चैनल पे काफ़ी सारी वीडियोस इनके अपलोड हैं। अतर भाई कितने पैसे हैं इसके?
भाई ये 35 का बन रहा है, 35 का।
एक 35 का, क्या ही बात है। बेहतरीन कीमत के साथ फ्रेश पीस है, टोटल जेन्युइन है, एक्सीडेंट वगैरह नहीं है, नंबर लगा हुआ है, इंजन पैक है, ब्लैक कलर में 21 मॉडल होंडा 125 आपको मिल जाएगा जी 1,35,000 रुपये में। ये फार सेल माल नहीं है, सिर्फ मालूमात दे रहे हैं। तकरीबन सारी मार्केट की वीडियो बना रहे हैं हम, और ये बहुत बड़ी लंबी वीडियो होगी ताकि आप दोस्तों को इंफॉर्मेशन हो हमारे राजनपुर के रेट कैसे हैं, और कमेंट्स करके आपने बताना भी है कि कैसे लगे आपको रेट और हमारे इलाके के मोटरसाइकिल भी। प्यारे भाई ये भी 21 है, ये दूसरा पीस है 21 मॉडल होंडा 125 ब्लैक कलर में, और ये भी टोटल जेन्युइन कंडीशन में है, इंजन पैक है, नंबर भी लगा हुआ है। ये कंडीशन आप देख सकते हैं, और दूसरी साइड भी आपको दिखा दें। ज़बरदस्त। इसके कितने पैसे हैं अतर भाई?
ये भाई 25 का बन जाएगा।
क्या बात, बेहतरीन कीमतें हैं, बेहतरीन कीमतें दोस्तों। 1,25,000 रुपये में होंडा 125 2021 मॉडल, नंबर भी लगा हुआ है। दूसरा पीस है ये, और पहला जो दिखाया हुआ है 1,35 का, और इसके बाद जो तीसरा पीस वो खड़ा है 22 मॉडल, वो 1,45 का। बेहतरीन कीमतें दी हैं भाई अख्तर साहब ने। और इसके साथ भाई ये 23 है, 23 मॉडल CD70, और इसका नंबर लगा हुआ है, नंबर भी लगा हुआ है, पक्का 23 है, टोटल जेन्युइन कंडीशन में, पैक इंजन में, ये देख सकते हैं आप माशाल्लाह ज़बरदस्त। इसके कितने पैसे हैं भाई?
ये भाई 15 की बन जाएगी
फाइनल। 1,15,000 रुपये में 2023 मॉडल CD70, ज़बरदस्त बेहतरीन कलेक्शन के साथ। अतर भाई कमाल मेहरबानी। और इंशाल्लाह आगे ये दूसरा चैनल है हमारा, दूसरे चैनल की वीडियो बना रहा हूँ, और सारी मार्केट का विज़िट किया है मैंने, तो इंशाल्लाह आगे जो है ना वीडियो सेल परचेज वाली बाद में अपलोड करेंगे। ये सिर्फ मालूमात देनी थी कि हमारे राजनपुर के मार्केट के रेट कैसे हैं। बहुत शुक्रिया, कमाल मेहरबानी जी। ये 23 मॉडल है नबील भाई, 23 मॉडल जेन्युइन कंडीशन में है। अच्छा ये 23 मॉडल पक्का है? पक्का 23 है दोस्तों। ये CD70 टोटल जेन्युइन कंडीशन में, इंजन पैक है, ये देख सकते हैं आप, मुकम्मल कंडीशन, नंबर भी लगा हुआ है, नंबर लगा हुआ है इसे, नंबर भी लगा हुआ है, और ये कंडीशन जेन्युइन है, टोटल एक्सीडेंट वगैरह नहीं है। 2023 मॉडल CD70। कितने पैसे हैं नबील भाई इसके?
ये आपको
1,22,000, 1,22,000 रुपये में CD70 23 मॉडल, नंबर भी लगा हुआ है, फ्रेश गाड़ी है, देख सकते हैं आप, जेन्युइन कंडीशन। क्या बताइए। इसके साथ ये दूसरा पीस भी 23 है, 23 मॉडल है, ये भी दूसरा पीस है, एडवांस 23 है ये, और इसका भी नंबर लगा हुआ है, ये भी टोटल जेन्युइन कंडीशन में, इंजन पैक है, ये देख सकते हैं मुकम्मल कंडीशन, नंबर भी लगा हुआ है, 2023 मॉडल एडवांस। इसके कितने पैसे हैं?
ये आपको लग जाएगा 1,15,000।
1,15,000 रुपये बेहतरीन कीमत के साथ 23 मॉडल CD70, 23 मॉडल एडवांस 1,15,000 रुपये में, ज़बरदस्त। इसके साथ ये 22 मॉडल भाई, इसका भी नंबर लगा हुआ है, नंबर लगा हुआ है, ये भी टोटल जेन्युइन कंडीशन में, इंजन पैक है इसका, और ये देख सकते हैं आप मुकम्मल कंडीशन, CD70 2022 मॉडल। 22 पक्का है? पक्का 22 है। इसके कितने पैसे हैं?
ये आपको मिल जाएगा 1,13,000।
मुनासिब कीमत बताएं, ज़्यादा बता रहे हैं।
1,10,000।
1,10,000 रुपये में फ्रेश पीस है, ये भी 23 के बराबर कंडीशन है, 2022 मॉडल CD70, और नंबर भी लगा हुआ है इसका। इसके साथ है अभी पुराने मॉडल भी दिखा दें ताकि विजिट में जो है ना, जो 16 मॉडल है,
ये 16 मॉडल है,
16 मॉडल है ये, और ये कुछ तैयार होने वाला आइटम है। इंजन ओके, हेड सिलेंडर का काम जो हुआ खड़ा, इंजन का कोई काम तो नहीं है भाई इसका, इंजन ओके, और इसका नंबर भी लगा हुआ है। इसके कितने पैसे हैं?
ये आपको मिल जाएगा 60,000
फाइनल। डिस्काउंट के साथ बताएं रेट, गुंजाइश ना रखें। फाइनल है 60,000 रुपये में, 2016 मॉडल CD70 कंडीशन आपके सामने, और टैंकी जो है इसकी वो लेमिनेशन हुई करिए। और इसके साथ भाई ये यूनिक चाइना की थोड़ी मालूमात हो जाए, ये भी फ्रेश है, ये गाड़ी देख सकते हैं आप। 21 है 20 है 20 मॉडल यूनिक है, नंबर भी लगा हुआ है। इंजन ओके, फ्रेम इंजन ओके, फ्रेम भी ओके, इसका नंबर भी लगा हुआ है। कितने पैसे हैं इसके?
ये आपको मिल जाएगा 55,000।
फाइनल बताएं यार, नहीं बता रहे मैं। 54,000 रुपये 55 डिमांड की है भाई ने, 1000 फिर मैंने गुंजाइश करवाई है। 54,000 रुपये में 2020 मॉडल यूनिक, टोटल जेन्युइन कंडीशन में इंजन पैक है, फ्रेम भी ओके है और ये कंडीशन आपके सामने। राजनपुर मार्केट ये सिर्फ आपको विजिट करवा रहे हैं इंशाल्लाह। ये भाई 20 मॉडल है, 20 मॉडल है ये दोस्तों। इंजन पैक है इसका, ये कंडीशन आप देख सकते हैं मुकम्मल जेन्युइन कंडीशन में। नंबर भी इसका लगा हुआ है। इसके कितने पैसे हैं?
ये आपको 87,000
जी 87,000। फाइनल रेट बताएं, फाइनल रेट बताएं। 87,000 85 कर दूँ? 86,000 रुपये में, 86,000 रुपये में दोस्तों 2020 मॉडल CD70, नंबर भी लगा हुआ है, टोटल जेन्युइन कंडीशन में। ज़बरदस्त। ये सिर्फ मालूमाती वीडियो है राजनपुर मार्केट के रेट जो हैं आपको बताने से। तो इंशाल्लाह सेल वाली मोटरसाइकिलें जो है ना डेली बेस पे एक दुकानदार की वीडियो आएगी और उसमें आप मोटरसाइकिलें ख़रीद भी सकते हैं, मुझसे भी रब्ता कर सकते हैं इंशाल्लाह। और मैं डिलीवर भी काफ़ी सारे मोटरसाइकिल करवा रहा हूँ। ज़बरदस्त। ये है जी मेरी राजनपुर मार्केट, माशाल्लाह ज़बरदस्त। जी समद भाई, ये कौन सा मॉडल है? ड्रीम CD70 ड्रीम 22 मॉडल, नंबर लगा हुआ है, नंबर भी लगा हुआ है, टोटल जेन्युइन कंडीशन में है और आप देख सकते हैं ये। और इसकी कीमत भी आपको बता देते हैं, टोटल जेन्युइन है, फ्रेश पीस है। राजनपुर मार्केट से ये सिर्फ आपको विजिट करवा रहे हैं। दूसरे चैनल पे ये वीडियो अपलोड होगी, लंबी वीडियो बना रहे हैं इंशाल्लाह। फिर बाद में जो है ना डेली की वीडियो मोटरसाइकिलों की आपको मिलेगी, सेल परचेज भी होंगे और नंबर भी देंगे दुकानदारों के, अपने भी। ये है जी 22 मॉडल ड्रीम, ब्लैक कलर में, फ्रेश पीस है। इसके कितने पैसे हैं भाई?
ये 15 का है।
1,15 का, ज़बरदस्त बेहतरीन कीमत के साथ 1,15,000 रुपये में। लेमिनेशन वगैरह है, टाइटा पे इंजन पे है, एक्सीडेंट वगैरह नहीं है, नंबर भी लगा हुआ है इसका। फ्रेश पीस है, आपको मिल जाएगा 1,15,000 रुपये में। 22 मॉडल CD70 ड्रीम, ज़बरदस्त। अच्छा ये 19 मॉडल है, 20 मॉडल है। इंजन ओके इसका, इंजन ओके। और ये 20 मॉडल होंडा 125, इंजन पैक है इसका। और बाकी ये कंडीशन आपके सामने, टोटल जेन्युइन 2020 मॉडल होंडा 125 ब्लैक कलर में, नंबर भी लगा हुआ है इसका और कंडीशन टोटल जेन्युइन है, ये देख सकते हैं आप। 2020 मॉडल होंडा 125, ये मिल जाएगा आपको 1,10,000 रुपये में। क्या बात है, बेहतरीन कीमत के साथ। ये सिर्फ मालूमाती वीडियो है और मोटरसाइकिलें सेल परचेज की वीडियो जो है ना वो बाद में आपको मिलेगी। ये सिर्फ आपको मालूमात दे रहे हैं कि हमारी राजनपुर मार्केट के रेट कैसे हैं। हमने कमेंट्स करके भी बताना है हमें। तो इसके साथ ये दूसरा पीस सुपरस्टार 17 मॉडल है, थोड़ा सा रफ है, इसे तैयार करने में वाला आइटम है। इंजन इसका बैग है, नंबर भी लगा हुआ है। 2017 मॉडल सुपरस्टार, ये मिल जाएगा आपको सिर्फ 30,000 रुपये में, बेहतरीन कीमत के साथ। थोड़ा सा रफ है, तैयार करना है, नीचे बॉडी गार्ड रिम वगैरह, इंजन फ्रेम ओके, बाकी टोटल जेन्युइन कंडीशन में, ज़बरदस्त। और इंशाल्लाह डेली बेस पे मोटरसाइकिलें आपको मिलेंगी। और राजनपुर मार्केट ये सिर्फ हम आपको विज़िट करवा रहे हैं और माशाल्लाह बेहतरीन कीमतें बड़ी काफ़ी तादाद में है इधर शोरूम और माशाल्लाह बेहतरीन कीमतें होती हैं। आल पाकिस्तान से लोग मंगवाते हैं मोटरसाइकिलें और ये आप देख सकते हैं। रिव्यू अपनी मार्केट का दिखा रहा हूँ मैं आपको, ज़बरदस्त। ये दोस्तों सिर्फ मालूमाती वीडियो है और इंशाल्लाह ये दूसरे चैनल की वीडियो है। ये पहली वीडियो है ताकि आपको हमारे राजनपुर मार्केट के रेट की जानकारी हो सके इंशाल्लाह। फिर जो है ना बाद में इस पे डेली भी वीडियो, पहले जैसे चैनल पे डेली की वीडियोस अपलोड होती थी, अब इस पे भी होंगी बिस्मिल्लाह। तो ज़बरदस्त।
ये है 15 मॉडल एडवांस CD70, ये 16 मॉडल एडवांस, सॉरी 16 मॉडल एडवांस है। और ये रफ़ कंडीशन में ये तैयार होने वाला आइटम है और कुछ तैयार है। इसके टैंकी टापे न्यू हैं, इंजन का काम हुआ खड़ा है, खुला हुआ है इंजन इसका। टायर जो हैं इसके दोनों न्यू हैं, नंबर भी इसे लगा हुआ है 2016 मॉडल एडवांस और इसका नंबर भी लगा हुआ है, नज़र नहीं आ रहा, प्लेट टूटी हुई है इसकी। और ये आपको मिल जाएगा जी सिर्फ 52,000 रुपये में। 16 मॉडल CD70 2016 मॉडल आपको मिल जाएगा ये सिर्फ 52,000 रुपये में। और ये रफ़ कंडीशन में कुछ तैयार करने वाला आइटम है। इसकी रिमों की कंडीशन जो है थोड़ी रफ़ है और बाकी ये कंडीशन आपके सामने, इंजन ओके, फ्रेम भी ओके है इसका। और इसके साथ दूसरा पीस ये 2012 मॉडल CD70, इसका भी नंबर लगा हुआ है, इंजन फ्रेम, इंजन इसका खुला हुआ है, सिलेंडर का जो काम है ना हुआ खड़ा है। और टैंकी टापे जो हैं इसके न्यू हैं, देसी हैं, ये स्टिकर से आप अंदाज़ा लगा सकते हैं। और बाकी ये कंडीशन टोटल जेन्युइन है। CD70 2012 मॉडल, नंबर भी लगा हुआ है इसका जी दोस्तों। नंबर दिखा दिया आपको, 1794 DG खान का नंबर है। ये 12 मॉडल CD है, CD70, ये नॉर्मल रेंज वाली बाइक्स हैं। और ये इसकी कंडीशन मुकम्मल आपको दिखा दिया। ये आपको मिल जाएगा जी 45,000 रुपये में। 2012 मॉडल CD70, राजनपुर ऑटो मार्केट। और इंशाल्लाह डेली की वीडियो आएगी, डेली नहीं तो 1-2 दिन तक जो है ना इसकी वीडियो डेली आप सेंड किया करेंगे और नंबर भी दिया करेंगे दुकानदारों के। और इसके अलावा आप ऑर्डर भी करेंगे इंशाल्लाह, आपको मोटरसाइकिलें डिलीवरी भी करवाएंगे दुकानदार हज़रात भी और मैं भी। और मुझसे जो दोस्त डायरेक्ट रब्ता करते हैं और उनकी चीज़ जो है ज़िम्मेदारी के साथ अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह मैं डिलीवरी भी करवा देता हूँ। तो इंशाल्लाह डेली की वीडियोस अपलोड होंगी। ये दूसरा चैनल है। तो दोस्तों मिलेंगे नेक्स्ट वीडियो में, तब तक के लिए अल्लाह हाफिज़।